Hello, my Teaserking family. How are you today? Just get my pit in. All right. Busy day for the professor. So I went to the bank, got a check-in from Alabama, but for some reason, it takes a day to hit the account. So it's like pending, but I can't use it. Either till tomorrow or Monday. My problem is the Social Security comes on the second Monday of the month, although it has come first Monday of the month for some reason, but not this month. I'm expecting the full Social Security Monday, but I owe my credit card on Monday through the bank, 0%. So I have to do that. So I went there and took care of that. Then I went to the grocery store. I needed veggies, a lot of veggies. And then I went to the vitamin store, which, hold on for a second. So let me show you what I got. So Bobby Bo, for you, this is the probiotic you need. It's called Primal Defense Ultra. I heard of this like 20 years ago, and I've been taking it most of the time. Occasionally I miss it if I don't get back. So this is what you need, Bobby Bo. This is the best Primal Defense. It's a little bit pricey. I think they have another one. This is $47. I think they have one for $34. And then this, the cod liver oil, which is actually better than fish oil. Dietary for heart health, brain function, and immune support. So this is just overall keep you healthy. And this is overall keep you healthy. So they're really like vitamins instead of the Flintstone vitamins. So, but this is what you want, Bobby Bo. You wanted probiotics. Instead of eating cabbage and beets like Nick's doing, I'm driving you to that. And when you get on, I'll re-show it. Nick sent me an email for his cards. I don't know what you want me to do with them, Nick. Did you already buy them? Are you trying to buy them? Did you get them out of packs? Not quite sure what. You showed me the cards. Some aren't numbered. And I don't know the price. And I don't know. I saw one graded out mint 9. There's a huge difference between the mint 9 and the mint 10. So again, not sure what you wanted me to do with them, other than just look at them. But yeah, I mean, I say you had a Cam Rising one, but I would not spend a lot on Cam Rising. I think he's superstar, but let's wait till he gets healthy and gets drafted and goes to the Superbowl, and then we start buying Cam Rising. There's no reason to buy him early. There's too many injuries in football. All right, so quickly look at Superbowl. Nothing really changed. There's an injury to Rice out of the blue. Maybe he sprained his ankle in practice. I don't know. It just says questionable with an ankle, and that's really the only. It's a minor, nothing major. The defensive lineman who got hurt in the Baltimore game, Casey's, is out. That's just, he's just gone. But Rice is there. We're hoping the lineman plays the guard. I guess he's all pro with a pec injury. Again, we've got the under, so we don't mind that offensive players get hurt. We don't want defensive players getting hurt. 20-10 KC. Nothing's changed. The line's still 47.5. I don't know where the line's going. I don't know how you cannot bet Mahomes as a dog. That doesn't make that's an automatic. Mahomes is a dog. Brady is a dog. Aaron Rodgers. All these guys is a dog. Look at Joe Namath. Well, that was fixed, but I mean, I'm sure he was a strong dog. Don't forget, the players know the line. All right, so keep in mind the Super Bowl. I think it's 6:30 on Sunday from Oakland. It looks like it could be a good game. Although Shanahan's the biggest choke, and then Purdy, we really don't know about. Watching him struggle against Detroit in the first half is like, you got to be kidding me. Really? He struggled against the 27 defense. And then even in the second half, he got lucky, hit the guy in the face mask. If he doesn't hit the guy in the face mask, it's an interception. At best, it's an incompletion. They get a touchdown out of it. So really, not impressed. Then they get a fumble. They get a short drive. Not impressed. Then the last one, they ran it down Detroit's throat, which is what they should have been doing the whole time. So I don't know. I'm not really like – Mahomes controls the game. He gets what he needs, and then they sit on the ball. Hence why I like Mahomes, and hence why I like the under. So we will see. As far as the drafting of the quarterbacks, it's one is Daniel LSU and Bo Nix. Those are your best two quarterbacks. Then you got Penix and Hartman, follow 3-4. And then Crybaby, whatchamacallit, from USC. Really? I can't think of his name. Anyway, Crybaby is 5th. Drake May is, I don't even know that I would take him in the 3rd round. You're basically getting Mitch Trubisky. So you want to waste a draft pick on Mitch Trubisky, be my guest. That's what Mr. Trubisky was at North Carolina. It was like, why they drafted this guy, I have no idea. And then the wonder why the Bears were in last place for 5 years. Same thing with Daniel Jones out of Duke. Like, what are you doing? And Pickett, are you insane? So, I mean, these draft choices are just bizarro upon bizarre. I mean, if you take Bo Nix, 45 touchdowns, 3 picks, 5 sacks. All right, if you fuck up with him and he's not really who you think he is, okay, we made a mistake. I can live with a Bo Nix pick. But I can't live with the Drake May pick or a Caleb. I can't live with a Caleb Williams pick first. Why do people like Caleb Williams? What is it about him getting killed by Notre Dame or getting killed by UCLA? Or crying after one of the games because they lost? I mean, my point about Trevor Lawrence, Tagovailoa, is in the big games, they didn't show up. You can't look at their stats except for in the big games because those are more pro players. So they didn't show up in those games. Jalen Hurts did not show up at all, even in the little games. And then you had, so Caleb showed up against Colorado, didn't show up against UCLA, didn't show up against Notre Dame, did show up against Washington, but not as strong a defense. Penix showed up against Oregon twice and Texas, and Bo Nix showed up in a lot of big games. Showed up against Colorado pretty good, and I'm sure some big games he did without going down the schedule. They were the best team. Them and Georgia were the best teams by a mile. I mean, Washington beat them, but Oregon was the better team. I think when Oregon would beat a good team like Colorado, it was 44-6. You're like, fuck, look at this team. And when Washington played Colorado, it was like 44-34. So Washington wasn't as dominant. That's why I thought Oregon should have been in the playoff. Washington beat them in the Pac-10 championship game, so they had the right to go, but Oregon, I thought, was the better team. Just because you lose to another team. KC lost to Buffalo in the regular. Should they have not been in the playoffs? It's so stupid. I mean, because you're discounting all the other games. It's like Georgia losing to Alabama. Well, you're discounting Georgia beating Missouri and Georgia beating Tennessee and Georgia beating Florida and whoever else they beat. You're discounting those because they lost one game to Alabama, who lost to Texas, who barely beat A&M. I mean, it's the whole thing's ridiculous. So hopefully this year it'll get better. So drafting wise, it's Nixon, Jalen Daniels, 1-2. What Daniels did against Alabama, I'll take that guy, and I'll take Bo Nix all day, 1 and 2. Drake May, who did he beat? Nobody. And this is against a soft schedule. The hardest team he had was Clemson, and they killed him. He didn't do anything against Clemson. Nothing against NC State. I don't care if he's got a big arm or he's tall. If it doesn't translate to wins, what the fuck do I want him for? Which is my whole thing about Josh Allen. He got sacked about 8 times against Air Force. Why would I want him? They didn't win the Mountain West with Josh Allen. So that's really what you're looking at. You want a winner. I'll take Daniels. I like Stenson Benson. I hope he plays for the Rams soon. So you got a guy like Stenson Benson sitting on the bench, and you got the guy in New Orleans, Hayner, sitting on the bench. These are much better quarterbacks that are playing, but they're playing behind, Stenson Benson's playing behind Stafford, so there's not much you can do about him. But I would trade for him then. If I'm Atlanta, I'd trade for Stenson Benson. Can't cost you much. It doesn't play. Or Seattle. Seattle should take Stenson Benson. And if the Lions aren't going to use Hooker, and I'm Oakland, I'd trade for Hooker. We know he beat Alabama. That's the point of what you're looking for. Can they win the big games? And there you go. So that's the point. Bo Nix won all the big games, as did Penix. But then I heard J.J. McCarthy, Michigan's quarterback, draft him in the first round. I wouldn't draft the guy at all. He's terrible. What is he? He does. I don't even know if he had 20 touchdowns. Bo Nix had 45, by the way. So excuse me. Good chicken breast. All right, so Bo Nix, 45, and Daniels, 43, and Penix, 38. You want people that win games that put up big stats. C.J. Stroud I wouldn't have drafted because he couldn't beat Michigan twice, and he lost to Ohio State in the playoff game. So what's he going to do in the pro? Oh, he's going to lose the playoff game to Baltimore. Mahomes showed you how to beat Baltimore. Stroud couldn't even get a touchdown. So, yeah, people like him in Houston. Only CJ Stroud this and CJ Stroud that. He hasn't won a big game yet. Yeah, he won at Cincinnati. Okay, big deal. We'll give him that. That's not a big game. He beat a good team. But how banged up was Joe Burrow, who was hurt the whole year with that stupid calf injury. So keep that in mind. So I would go Nixon, Daniels, either one, and then I would go Penix and Hartman. Then I'd go Caleb, and then I go and start looking at running backs. So you got 5 guys. You take Drake May or J.G. McCarthy, and you wonder why it's a bust. Just like taking Trey Lance. What the fuck was that about? Why would you draft Trey? He played 1 year as a freshman in college, and you draft him. You trade picks, and then you end up trading him because he's terrible. But the picks you lost, you could have won the Super Bowl with, right? You're very close to winning the Super Bowl now. The picks you gave up could have been a hot stud linebacker or defensive back, another good receiver. I mean, you're loaded now, but imagine if you had these 2 or 3 picks back. There were early picks that you could have drafted. You didn't need Trey Lance. I don't know why you traded for Garoppolo. You could have got a better quarterback. So now what happens is, what do I do? What do I do with Fields? What do I do? I'm Oakland. I'm not going to use O'Connell. What do I do in Miami? What do I do in Pittsburgh? They all need a good quarterback. So what do I do? What do I do if I'm the Jets? What do I do with the Giants? I got Daniel Sims or Daniel Jones, whatever his name is, to a 5-year, $50 million contract. The guy sucks. Plus, he's coming off a serious knee injury. He can't throw the ball, hit the broadside of a barn. So what do I do with this guy? And I have a chance to get these 5 studs. And probably the kid from Tulane's probably really good also. So what do I do with it? And that's where you have to be. Do I trade for Stenson Benson from Georgia, who won 2 national titles, who looked very clutch? Do I trade for Hooker at Detroit from Tennessee, who put up a 50 on Alabama, and nobody does that? Do I trade for Jake Haener? Do I trade for Trask sitting on the bench at Tampa because their coach is too stupid to play the best quarterback? So these are important decisions that these guys aren't capable of making. I love when I hear Oakland should go after Fields. You guys want to let me in on that one? Oh, Fields is good now? Since when is Fields any good? So I think we figured it out. They want a running quarterback because of the 2-deep zone, where both safeties play deep, which you can run on. And so you let your receivers go out, and then you let your quarterback run underneath. Sounds like stupid strategy because you need your quarterback. He gets hurt, as half of them, but the whole league got hurt last year. You get hurt. You can't lose your quarterback. There's not like you can just replace him like you could a running back. So it's a real incredibly stupid offensive coordinators, I find. Half the league can't get 20 points a game. It's an embarrassment. You need a running game. San Francisco, KC are very balanced teams. They got good passing, and they can run the ball. Difference is KC's got Mahomes, and the only thing close to it is Cincinnati's got Joe Burrow. That's it. Otherwise, Aaron Rodgers, if he'll be back next year. That's it. Josh Allen's not in their league. Tagovailoa is not close. So what do? You got Fields. You got the number one pick. I would still draft Bo Nix or Daniels, and then I would get rid of Fields. I wouldn't trade Field. I wouldn't get out of the one pick. Like, I wouldn't trade Fields to Oakland. Or I wouldn't trade. So Oakland wants the number one pick. Let's just use that as an example. Well, what would I do that for? What do I want? I don't want Oakland's pick. Now, maybe if they gave me their Max Crosby, I can maybe trade Max Crosby for the number one pick, but I still have Fields to deal with. If I'm the Bears, I'm taking Bo Nix, Jason Daniels, number one. Now I got control. Oh, you want Fields? Okay, what are you giving me for? Especially as somebody who doesn't get their quarterback in the first round. Oakland, the Giants, Minnesota, I guess. What are they trading? Kirk Cousins? And who are they going to go with? The guy who threw for Florida, Cummings or whatever his name is. Pittsburgh. They're too good. They're not going to be drafting. They won't get any of the 5 quarterbacks, so they need to trade up. So you can trade Fields for T.J. Watt. You could trade Fields for their first-round draft pick. So you get Bo Nix, get rid of Fields. I mean, it's not even close. And then you go to get, maybe you pick up a defensive player from Pittsburgh and their number one draft pick. And they can have Fields. So Fields is your trade bait. But I trade him after. Get whoever's number one pick, and I get the quarterback that I really want. If it's Drake May, then you've picked up Mitch Trubisky again. Pathetic. So, and then what do the teams do with these other quarterbacks? What do the Lions do? You got Goff, who's a choke, and you got Hooker beat Alabama. I mean, they seem to be good on SEC talent. We got 3 Alabama guys. I don't know why. I wouldn't take any Alabama guys. Running back fumbled in the big game. Receiver always gets hurt, doesn't do shit. And then they have a cornerback who, I don't know, not much. So, I would get rid of Goff. Now you could trade Goff and you got Hooker. But the problem is you didn't play Hooker. You don't know how good he is, or you can't trade Hooker because you didn't show him. Goff's not your answer. The Rams didn't let him go because they thought he was really good and they wanted Stafford. They let him go because he sucks, which we know he sucks. So I don't know. I would get rid of Goff. You could trade him to Minnesota, Oakland. I would trade Goff to Oakland and get their number one and maybe number 2 draft picks or a couple of number ones. Trade him to the Giants, get their drafts. I mean, you have a lot of opportunity to really move up. Now, either Hooker's good or he isn't, but you don't know because you're too stupid to play him. Hey, Greg and John, TK, the Super Bowl has turned into a media event is all. Well, it's always about money. But that's nothing new. The Super Bowl's always been a big event. What do you think with Joe Namath? I mean, that was the big thing. He predicted a fixed game. I love it. Now everybody thinks Joe Namath can pick games. No, he just knew that the Baltimore owner bet $1 million on the Jets. And And he predicted it. Well, yeah, we're going to win. I guarantee we're going to win because the owner of the Baltimore has bet on us. That was pretty funny. So yeah, I mean, well, it's I don't get the time. Why 6:30 to 10 on a Sunday night? I always hated that. It's what I say. So when I talk about ribs in the market, and they're $25, and that's it. You can get 25. You've conditioned us to pay $25. Now you want to sell them for 45. We're not conditioned to pay that. We won't. This cost me $37 today, and I don't. But there is 250 in here, so I took two today. I'm figuring for my foot, I'm going all out. I've got these. I've got the probiotic. This was $47 for 90 tablets. I don't ever recall paying that much for it. But this is Primal Defense Ultra. I probably would have got the regular because it's a probiotic. So tell Bobby to come on, Greg and John, that I got his probiotic for him. So those are a little over market, but I don't buy it that much, and it's more for health. So I'll pay a little bit more. What was I going to say? Anyway, but that's what you're. What do I do? Do I trade my assets or don't? And the funny part is, what nobody's talking about is when the dollar goes out, all these teams, what the hell is, all these teams, what are they going to do for money? So these players are making all this money and it's worthless. And soon it's going to be worthless because I was watching Mcguire was very good today, talking about de-dollarization and Putin and Tucker Carlson with the Putin thing. I can't tell if that's real. Putin keeps saying, "Hey, I'm ready to negotiate. I'll end the war tomorrow if there's somebody here to end the war with." So he's very much, according to the interview. I sent it to Jenna to get her input. So we'll see. But it's just funny how everybody walks around like the money's never going to go away. And it's a $35 trillion debt. Nah, no big. That won't affect us. Inflation's high. Oh, no, they say it's 3%. So when you get into all that crap, people just don't know. They don't get it that they're in trouble. Now, I didn't hear from this guy who interviewed me. Still kind of upset. Still thinking I should charge him because you asked me questions. Now, the only thing is I didn't say up front, my fee is $100, $100 per hour if you want to ask me how to do a budget. If you want to ask me how to do finance and economic stuff, that's $100 an hour. So I think what he did was said, I'm going to interview some senior analysts to find out how to do some of this stuff. Because he's a U of M guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then he doesn't even have a master's. And he's not in finance. I think he's a CPA or something. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's probably related to the owners. He's been there 7 months. Why is he asking me how to do a budget? Wow, pretty scary. So anyway, with that said, I didn't get an email thanking me. I don't know if he watched it. He's probably too stupid. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So again, card collecting is probably a better way to make money than stocks. We know stocks are very manipulated. We know bonds are going out. We know real estate trusts. Attack on Wall Street guy lost 60 grand. all those are rigged assets. They're all Madoffs. You can't really rig. I don't know how you can really rig this. You can't really rig this, right? 50 count, it's Mahomes, that's it. So I don't know if you can rig the baseball cards as much. I mean, you could do it the other way where you could have somebody pay me 25 grand for that card, and then I turn around and give them the money back, and then it looks like the card's got this 25 grand value. That could be with Montana's rookie. It's a 1.25. It hasn't sold. Maybe the guy who bought it for 100 grand turned around and switched it with his friend, so he really didn't pay it, but now you think it's worth 100 grand. There's a lot of that shit going around. Like I say, with that whole AI crap with the all the digital currency or digital crap. People were spending a lot of money on it, but what you didn't know is then they got the money right back from whoever they gave the money to. They got the money back, and then you thought, oh my God, look at the values in there. So you got to be careful on that. So yeah, the Super Bowl, a lot of commercials. I think all the bullshit. I think everybody buys the tickets. One guy buys them all up front, and then he sells. Then he sells them secondary market for a lot more, and he makes money on it. I think it's ridiculous. I think you should be limited to 2 tickets. Whoever's the seller, the NFL or in this case Oakland, whoever the seller is should limit that crap because that's bullshit. Who can really afford, 6,000 or whatever you said, Greg or John, to go to the Super Bowl? And why should it be that expensive? So it's really kind of crazy that you have to buy a secondary ticket. Can you even buy it first? And then you got to get a secondary ticket at 5,000-6,000. I mean, that's just ridiculous that you have to do that. That's not right. So there's a lot of manipulation going around, which takes us to why we buy gold. You can't manipulate it. So let's go to Mark Mcguire. But I'm waiting for Bobby to show him his probiotic if he comes on.
It's Joseph from Plato's Closet. I am mic'd up today. It looks like a mess back here. That's not my problem.
What we're seeing here in Europe already suggests a month or 2.
Okay, so good video from Mark Mcguire. No guest. There's de-dollarization. There's blowing up COMEX. Although there's one strange comment in here. And let's see if I responded to one guy. Oh, okay, this guy. So I'm going to read my response. This is on Mark Mcguire's show today. Here's my thing. The Crimex illegal mission to make the 2000 number worthless by gold expiration on the 27th is firmly in play. If that does not happen, I will start to get excited. So here's my response. So what the fuck are you talking about? Laugh out loud. Couldn't get a shake my head in there, Bobby. Sorry. The Crimex, so COMEX, illegal mission to make the 2000 number worthless by gold expiration on the 27th is firmly in play. What is he talking about? If that does not happen, and I'm like, what are you talking about? How can they make gold worthless? To make the 2000 number worthless. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So in the comments, people are waking up to gold and silver. They just don't understand the idea of physical, not paper. They're buying paper for their portfolio, not knowing it's worthless while the banks load up physical at a lower price. Well, we know that's why COMEX keeps the price low for the buyers, right? For mostly China. And do people not understand the difference between paper and physical? I don't know, but that's why I always say it, right? Buy physical, don't buy paper. We just rather looking forward to this. Thank you for sharing. I got into silver early and way too early, and I've watched untold numbers of videos on precious metals. Now, this part I don't get. The rich and powerful that have benefited from market manipulation have always found a way to continue the game. The hell is he talking about? I don't see the BRICS things amounting to any more than it already has. Russia and China are economic basket cases, and I can't see them mustering the leverage to go anywhere. The precious metal price will move when the physical supply is exhausted, regardless how that comes around. What's this guy talking about? Russia and China have 100,000 tons of gold. What is he talking about? I don't think the BRICS thing amount. Well, what do you? China owns COMEX and an entire commodity market. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what's the point? They manipulate the PM prices per contract with China. When that contract ends, is the question. I speculate it's retribution, whatever. This has gone on for over 100 years. No, it hasn't. 50 years. Will continue for at least another 100. See, why do you say that? Right? Look what this guy's saying. This has gone on for 100 years, this has gone on since 71. That's not 100 years. It will continue. So nothing will change. There's no variables that'll change. Not BRICS. Not everybody buying gold. Not the end of COMEX. No, nothing's going to change. Yeah. Okay. Moron. There is no one going long on gold, and fear don't sell if there is no fear. Gold is seen as junk. No one is investing or buying the damn thing. Here's another moron. Everyone I know is debanking, going long on gold and silver and physical assets, still playing the market. You are. Yeah, right. No Americans is absolutely right. They believe the Beanie Babies are rock solid, except for central banks in some Eastern countries and about 1/10 of the 1% of people. I wonder what they see that the other 99 don't. Aren't central banks making large buys month after month? Yeah, so you're just dealing with a bunch of idiots. That's why I really don't want comments, and that's why I It's like I said when I'm listening to sports talk radio and they talk about the Lions. I don't want to hear Joe Bob's point of view. I don't want to hear his comment. What does he know? Right? The more stoic you get, the less you want to hear from people that are especially not qualified. So it's very hard to find qualified people that you actually want to listen to. But on sports talk radio, when Joe Bob calls in and say, yeah, the Lions are this and the Lions are that, and if the Fed does this and the N does that, I don't care. I don't really, who is this guy? Why do I want to listen to him? What is the point? There is no point. And yeah, so it makes it very hard to listen to talk radio when they want guests to come on. Do I bring a guest on? Once in a while, I bring Bobby Bo baseball card on. Once in a while, he's the guest. But really, why do I want a guest? Is he going to be in our league? Is he going to know as much as me? No. I haven't seen anybody on this who knows as much as I do, including Mark Mcguire. Egon's in my league, but I know more than he does. So I'm really not. What do I care about what they say about the Lions? I don't care. We know about the Lions. We know they're going to have the hard schedule and be lucky to win 8 games next year. If they keep Goff, it's a mistake. What are you going to do with Hooker? And trade Hooker. Hooker's got a big value. It's not everybody that beats Alabama 50-49. Nobody else did last year. So anyway, so I was expecting this idiot to comment on mine. I don't know what he's talking about the 27th. They've been trying to lower the gold price. They can't because China and Russia buy the gold at the low price. So as soon as the price goes down, they're buying it and they're running out. So I guess COMEX lives until they run out of gold, which is getting closer and closer to closer. So it's scary how much gold COMEX had and how stupid they are to not just buy it and have it and wait for it to go up. All right. So let us listen to Mark Mcguire's show today.
In particular, you drew attention to the sheer scale of the BRICS de-dollarization process, and it's setting us up for a gold revaluation. Can we start our episode right here?
Yeah, great to be with you, Shane. Great to be with everyone again. So much to go through. So let's get going here. And obviously, I'm really looking forward to updating this because we've got more information on this.
Thank you, Mark.
But you know what? I had so many questions over the last 2 weeks of, well, clearly intense paper market volatility. And then just since our last episode. And it's generated so many questions. Perhaps it's a good idea to start this episode just by quickly digging beneath the very short-term chart chatter, which really has revealed some very interesting central bank footprints. We're always looking to show where they are. And then we'll look at the all-important de-dollarization updates, really, which is definitely readying for a geopolitically accelerated launch of Glasgow's gold-backed commodity currency. Now, this past 2 weeks of synthetically driven, counterintuitive action once again draws really unwanted attention to just how hard it is becoming to hide the footprints of an accelerating de-dollarization process. Now, this was particularly evident during this last 2 week period, really, because the cartel had the advantage of position concentration into the insider-known, politically rigged, so-called non-farm payrolls beat. Everyone knows that is one of the biggest events, and especially as the FOMC set it up that we're data dependent. And really, at this point, that is the perfect trigger for an algo to use. And so this politically sought beat, and we'll look at the detail of that in a little while, this position concentration position provided them a hell of an advantage as we headed into this really the February trading of last week. And this is only a few days ago, talking about last Friday. And while this exchange of dollars for gold has been possible for the US hegemon to hide into a chart-painted, multi-decade, psyops-induced, bearish gold market condition, the flow of dollars into gold is much more difficult to hide after gold was reclassified under Basel III legislation as a first-year asset class in January of last year. So that's become a lot easier. And there's a lot of evidence that the structure of this COMEX bubble is changing. Now, we tracked the process closely of all of last year. And right on cue, gold actually did hit all-time highs around $2,150 into the end of the fourth quarter of 2023, as the efforts to hide this exchange for fiat dollars for gold began to actually backfire against the Fed's efforts, massive efforts to cap gold using synthetic means. Now, what has evolved is that the required volume of COMEX open interest, meaning the casino chips, that are needed to continue to generate enough leveraged synthetic gold supply to suppress unleveraged gold from benchmarking a real physically determined supply-demand price against the dollar, that is fast evaporating. Not only, we only have to look at the impossible to hide published COMEX open interest data.
He gets a little windy, and I'm having what the fuck are you talking about, Mark? Just he's got his own unique banking language and he rumbles on. So you're like, I've watched this twice, and I'm still going, what the fuck's he talking about? So let's move up a little bit and see if we can catch a little bit something that we understand. When he says the de-dollarization is getting out of the dollar and getting into gold, basically, and he talks about, what do you say? When they go long, it means they think the gold price is going up. All right, let's see if we can get a better
uptake of unleveraged physical gold is really backwashing into this non-compliant COMEX exchange. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in a minute. But the elephant in the room is the sheer scale of what we call the exchange for physical outflows, the backdoor of the COMEX that we've referred to multiple times, the Achilles heel of the COMEX, where 96% leveraged gold warrants, i.e. you only have to fund them for 4%, and suddenly they exit the AFP. There's a 96% refunding of those leveraged gold warrants being alchemized, and there's no other word for it, into a fully funded, NSFR compliant, deliverable bullion position exiting the hands of the Fed-run cartel. This is what's happening. And you might, in the daily chart chatter, you may not see it. Step back and look. It's becoming very, very dangerous for the Fed. The only central bank who's still seeking a lower gold price against the dollar is being forced to pick up the slack themselves. Something that is evident in the Bank of International Settlements official swaps report. So we love to dig up official reports and connect all the little pieces of the jigsaw. And while every other global central bank, without exception, are on record, accumulated unprecedented tonnages of physical gold to add to their reserves, that's on record, as well as the global South BRICS nations are concurrently off the record, swapping billions of dollars to purchase unreported. You don't have to report monetary FS gold, but that.
So what that means is the demand for gold's very, very strong, which is why I reacted in that comment like, well, they're going to try to, kill the $2,000 gold barrel. What the fuck are you talking about? He doesn't understand that the $2,000 gold price is COMEX, is paper, and you need physical. But if we have physical, we don't have anything to worry about because of the demand of all the central banks in Russia and China who want physical gold. That's why they want physical gold, not the paper crap. as long as there's demand, as I say, for my Canadian club, as long as somebody's willing to buy it, it has a market. Gold has a huge market. And with the debt going on and these wars going on and all the inflation going on, believe me, the market for gold cannot be any higher than it is. It's just huge. Because of the the banks realize the dollar's worthless. People like us realize the dollar's worthless. This is what kills me. People running these companies and all the others who don't, it's funny though, when I am in Europe and I ask them, they know. The cab drivers, they know. The people at the hotel, they realize, yeah, I want gold. Now, the problem is the little people can't afford it. They're just living, and enough to eat and pay rent, and they can't afford. They can't afford gold now. But in my world, you can buy 1/10 of an ounce and 1/4 of an ounce. So you see me. So I give Jenna some 1/4 ounce gold, and so I told her it's about to really move, like 3,000, 4,000 an ounce, and then look out. So she's getting excited, like, yeah, okay, because I gave her at least 2.5 ounces of it, which somebody in the Ukraine, it's worth a lot. So they'll get a lot of Ukraine dollars for it. Okay.
Is what's happening. And so the recent 120 tons that the Bank of International Settlements reports of gold swaps and don't forget, the Bank of International Settlements squared all of their swaps of 500 odd tons of swaps in November 2022. So these 120 tons are 100% on the books of the Fed. And this is not going unnoticed. And this short-term Fed intervention is viewed by liquidity providers facing a very tight for supply, strong demand global physical market at current prices, that is showing the Fed as showing a weak hand. Now, historically, the Fed could rely on leasing out, then rebuying hundreds of tons of gold leases at the expense of the led-by-the-nose CTAs, the speculators, who could be relied on to borrow enough casino chips from the house to regularly be called in on these loans at a loss. That's how the game worked. This historically enabled the Fed to repay these short-term BIS leases ahead of exposing themselves to buying these leases back at a higher price. Now, there just aren't enough useful fools to take the other side of this trade to get any significant traction. And following the following foreign exchange gold being reclassified as a first-year asset class on the 1st of January, 1 year ago, foreign exchange gold now directly competes with Federal Reserve notes. And the BIS swap trade has not been going well for them. And bottom line, the casinos controlling hegemons are running into a far more aggressive de-dollarizing process than they ever expected. And what we're drawing attention to is that there's now insufficient CTA, this siloed open interest that lives in this COMEX bubble, sufficient to offset a massive central bank-driven exchange of dollars for gold, meaning these leases aren't any longer able to be equitably squared. And this leaves the Fed in an untenable position of adding to their already deeply rehypothecated central bank exposure. We've looked at it multiple times. And in other words, the Fed is so desperate to keep a lid on gold from breaking out, it's ending up throwing really a shrinking supply of what we call sight account bullion into the hands of competing central banks. Under the short-term chart chatter, this becomes evident again into the insider-known non-farm payrolls gold rinse attempt.
Now, Andrew, just before we started recording here, you showed me some interesting data that really illustrates just how deep a hole the Fed is digging right now. Can you share this data? It's quite staggering.
Yeah, Shane, and this is exactly where this gets interesting. And while we've drawn attention to the much larger central bank sovereign de-dollarizing footprints, who have on and off the record accused really accrued sufficient physical gold to be able to choose their moment to revalue gold. Last week's non-farm payrolls gaming, and so I'm using this as an example, you rarely get a chance to highlight this stuff. And it provided us a rare window into just how aggressive competing central banks have become in alchemizing the Fed's COMEX-capped, synthetically contained paper gold ranges. Now, these grossly undervalued bullion purchases are being obtained by central banks and sovereigns exchanging literally billions of dollars for fast depreciating, weaponized dollars by way of the COMEX backdoor EFP mechanism, which we've drawn attention to. And where central banks really, this is the key thing, this is the only place central banks are able, the only globally accessible source of immediately deliverable wholesale bullion without driving the immediate wholesale price significantly higher. Thank you, Fed. And what we're seeing is these strategically timed central bank de-dollarizing efforts are exponentially stepping up, really capitalizing on these fully anticipated historical house-rigged paper gold selling events.
So everybody's buying except for the US, and they're selling, and they're it's like the dumbest bank in the world, the Fed. All right, let's go on to see if there's, all right. So here's a good segment where they're saying, why does it keep going the spot from 2000 to 2050? Why are we stuck there? And so he gives a good explanation on it's about to go to 3,000.
The really tight trading range and why the 2,000 gold level was going to act as a support, and that the 250, only $50 more, was being officially capped, by this counterintuitive action that was coiling gold into for potentially a huge rally here. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, bang on, Shane. I specifically had drawn attention to the main reason for this frustratingly sideways capped gold range, where we've had about a $50 range, where we've identified two levels of competing central bank spot gold buy orders, and really both of which the cartel really had tried to avoid getting filled for obvious reasons, hence the very tight synthetic range. Now, two levels that we had identified are where the very large competing central bank limit orders, or in layman's terms, language, that's dip buy orders. In other words, you go down there and they're ready to buy it. They're aggregated at the spot gold 2,000 level, which we can see now that has been tactically front run by the cartel, despite all of the gaming from getting, they're really avoiding them getting filled. And this is the reason that 2,000 gold has become a higher support stairstep. But if you recall, we had also reported very large central bank buy stops, which are simply sidelined buy orders waiting to be triggered at the top of the cap range. And that was at spot 2050. Now, this is precisely where we catch the cartel wrong-footed, which was just after our last episode. I think the 2 days after our last, 1 day after our last episode. So it was last Thursday, a full day ahead of the insider known non-farm payrolls being published, which was last Friday, which is a few days ago. We were provided a rare window into the paper to physical battle in live time. Now, usually these footprints are covered over, but such large unfactored physical orders had appeared ahead of the Thursday PM gold fix that these massive central bank buy stops at spot 2050 were actually hit, triggering a very large 28.8 tons of EFP outflows just on that one single day, as the COMEX was raided for bullion at a huge discount to the spot foreign exchange gold price. Now, what's interesting is we captured this scramble for physical live on Thursday, and we've snapshotted it here for you to see on this intraday central bank raid. Now, this snapshot captures a massive, as you can see, an $8.80 spot premium per ounce being commanded over against the in delivery February gold futures contract as global central banks pounced on this EFP discount, successfully raiding the insiders' attempts to cap gold into this CTA-driven, learned non-farm payrolls behavior. They know this game now. In fact, the pit open on that day, and we just happened to catch it in time, the spot gold premium over the casino Fed contract was as high as $11.10 per ounce, evidencing over 47 tons of discounted gold being removed before it was arbitraged by the pit managers. This was not what the Fed had planned. This miscalculation cost them dearly, and it's yet to be paid back. Now, the anticipated politically sought so-called non-farm payrolls beat that followed on Friday was not just comical, it was farcical. This Sierra Hedge article, and really the title just about says it all.
All right, Mark. I don't know what he's talking about, but he gets into a thought. Well, let's get the end of it.
Andrew, this is fascinating, and another reason why our community just can't get this information anywhere else. Now, you had mentioned you had an update on how the de-dollarization process is advancing towards the inevitable, gold price revaluation. How are we here?
Yeah, Shane. So really picking up from what we reported in our last market update episode. That was, as you say, I can't believe it, 2 weeks ago, 24th of January. We've got fresh, credible information that Glasnev's gold-backed commodity currency is very close to being launched. Now, the launch process has been brought forward this past 2 weeks following officially coordinated, widely published mainstream media news reports that NATO is preparing for war with Russia. Now, while this war drum beating looks more like posturing, lashing out pretty much against the failing proxy war against Russia currently being played out on the battlefields of Ukraine, these threats are being taken seriously by Russia, China, and Iran, and preparations are ramping up. These guys are not waiting to be sanctioned. In fact, this morning, Medvedev warned if war with NATO happened, it would not be fought in the trenches. Instead, it would result in the use of ballistic, hypersonic, nuclear missiles, resulting in an apocalypse. Well, clearly, and this makes a farce out of, even in the UK here, we were talking about conscription for soldiers, to fight a war with Russia. This is ludicrous stuff. It would simply not be fought in the trenches. And during the first 4 weeks of 2024, though, the risks of a military conflict between NATO and the three Sino-Russian, Iranian Global South BRICS members greatly raises the odds of a weaponized gold price revaluation trigger point. And we need to be ready. And as we highlighted in our last episode, the reason you need to be ready is really what to expect for those exposed to bets made inside the unbacked paper settled COMEX gold and silver markets, which we looked at last time. And as we outlined, following Russia openly converting all their dollar assets into gold ahead of its military operation in Ukraine in 2022, we also drew attention to credible evidence that the bulk of China's undisclosed over 3.4 trillion of shadow banking FX reserves have been or are being converted into physical gold bullion. And this backs up the median liquidity provider consensus that the PBOC has been able to salt plus or minus 40,000 tons of gold into the state-held banks without raising a red flag. Converting these FX reserves, which due to global NSFR standards have really recategorized FX gold to the first-tier asset class, has sanction-proofed the bulk of these over $3 trillion of unreported shadow banking reserves, while still enabling these dollar-related assets to be used as collateral for everyday global trade. And more importantly, it enables China and Russia to act as the primary liquidity providers to back Glasnev's commodity currency with deposits of the necessary physical gold assets to actually be liquid enough to handle this oil and energy trade and commodity trade. And furthermore, once the extent of China's de-dollarizing efforts are realized, there will be a race out of the dollar into physical gold. And clearly, the scale of such a massive imbalance between the comparatively tiny Western reported US and European gold bullion holdings versus an estimated aggregated 60,000 tons accrued by the well-established 2013 Sino-Russia alliance. And I remember talking about this on Max Kaiser in 2013. We talked about this alliance being established. Ultimately puts these two collaborating central banks in complete control of the real supply-demand gold price discovery process, essentially in control of a no-shots-fired, weaponized gold price nuclear option, far more preferable than a one-off exchange of a vaporizing nuclear missile.
Okay, Mark, you're getting a little bit much there, but it is inevitable, and it's going to be revalued at 3,000. All right, let's look at silver.
92 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold today exposes the extremely wrong footing of this momentum-driven specs, who, while chasing a dot on a screen, has zero visibility into the tight for supply 1,000 ounce wholesale market. Yes, we can get 1,000 ounce wholesale bars, but it's the softness in the retail silver demand that's fooling the CTAs into chasing silver deep below what really are buoyant wholesale demand prices. And while this soft retail silver demand continues to suck in the CTA momentum sellers, what is still not filtered through is that the huge wholesale Indian silver demand has significantly tightened silver 1,000 ounce supply. And silver is coiling for a very large move, and as you know, which is pretty much what we assessed last episode. So now, interesting, the LBMA 2024 silver forecast varies enormously, and that was produced yesterday, I think it was. It predicts massive price volatility with their predicted trading range, a trading range of $14, between $18 and $32 for 2024, which compares to the actual trading range of about $6 last year. Now, this disingenuous club of so-called professional traders are trying to spin they're trying to spin this is an acceptable volatile range, and it would be quite normal and gives them the perfect, needs someone to take the other side of this bet though. But what they're not anticipating is what a gold price revaluation is going to do to silver. And the cartel's break point is $35, which would easily be run through, triggering a bid-only short covering spree that would really completely obliterate the synthetic ratio bubble, exposing really a real 8-to-1 ratio, which is where silver should be. And so, if you do that into a $3,000 gold support stair step, that potentially prices silver at $375 an ounce. And I'm not saying this is going to be achieved in one fell swoop, but liquidity providers do anticipate a range of $50 to $200 once gold breaks out of its cap range above $35. So what are we saying here? The message we are sending is really one of wealth preservation. And the message is that under the daily chart chatter, this enormous volatility you're seeing here, de-dollarization and a gold price revaluation is on the front burner. And the reason I've also put it on the front burner is that unfactored geopolitical escalations raise the odds of it coming when everybody least expects it. So it leaves just one question. How much physical gold is...
Yeah, we know that. So that's gold at 3,000, and then silver gets redone at 8-to-1, puts it at, $375 an ounce, conservatively, because once it breaks 35, it's gone. Once they revalue gold and say now it's worth this, silver then becomes worth that. It blows up COMEX. That's why I don't understand the guy's question on COMEX. They can't control it. They can't keep gold under 2,000 because too many people want it. It's that's the way it is. They can't. If they could, it would be $5 an ounce right now for gold, but they can't because it's gold and it's the demand. And apparently, the U.S. has it, or COMEX has a lot of gold in the safe, but it's not anybody's. It's just COMEX. It's not the U.S.'s. It's not London's. It's just COMEX. And it's the exchange in Chicago, the metals exchange or whatever, and the commodity exchange. And that's it. So you can see silver's going to go through the roof, 375. My guess is once it does that, it ain't stopping until 1,000. See, what they're not understanding is when you price gold at 3,000 as the floor, he's saying. Now he's saying that's the floor, not 2,500. Goes to 3,000. But once people see it, it's Titanic. They all jump on board. Once they all jump on board, it goes to 5,000 like that. And at 8-1, that's silver's at, you know what? Well, 10-1 would be 500. So it would be 600, let's say. But once it's running, see the emotion part he doesn't understand. Once it runs, right? And then that's what you have. So that's Mark Mcguire. He's yeah. I've watched it 3 times. I still sit there going, what the fuck's he talking about? All right, let's go back. So there's a few Putin ones, but I don't know if we want to get into them. I don't know what we believe. So Tucker Carlson, I don't really like that guy. Sits there and talks about peace and, you know, and Putin blames the U.S. and, you know, said I would have settled last year and Boris Johnson came in. So again, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Then we've got, there's something I wanted to show you. So here's this dealer.
I want to show you a little known trick for finding low price stocks on the verge of moving higher. What is in this?
But the stock market's going to go. So here's this dealer, Yankee Stacking. I think you guys maybe have heard of him. And this guy is fucking clueless. Please don't listen to him. I will show you a little bit of it. But this guy's, they're asking him, what are you going to do when silver hits $50 an ounce, $100 an ounce? What are you going to do? And he doesn't get it. He doesn't get COMEX. If you listen to this guy and you think he's smart, stop listening. All right.
Box of rounds.
Well, it was getting kind of light, so I put more rounds in there.
So if 10,000 ounces of silver comes in and the spot price is $100 an ounce, are you going to be able to satisfy the cash requirements?
I probably would have closed the doors before that. They can shut the door anytime.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
The worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1986. We're now down 43%. This could be the most serious recession in decades. Protect your retirement with a gold and silver IRA. Learn more at stbullion.com/IRA. Hi, Tim.
Yes.
How are you?
We're doing just fine.
Are you doing well?
Yeah.
How's business?
Business is very strange.
Strange.
Yeah, we still have the same number of buyers. We have a lot more sellers. And all the sellers I've talked to pretty much have good reasons for selling their gold and silver.
Like this stuff
They
right
need
here,
the
right?
money.
Is this
Yeah,
something
this is pretty typical. I mean, people have a need for a little cash.
Yeah, called paying
I've
their
had
bills.
people even who are putting their cash away or putting it someplace where it's safe and, like gold or silver. I think a lot of people are choosing not to put the money in the bank and then, withdrawing it from the bank.
Right now, silver is $23 roughly?
Net range 23 plus.
Right?
Yeah.
What happens when silver, and I say when, silver hits $50 or $100? What are people going to do? Aren't they going to come flooding into Tim's shop and sell their silver like crazy?
Yes.
So people are selling now, but the question is, what will happen when that happens?
Well, it's happened twice. It happened in 1980. It happened again in 2011. And 2011 was very interesting because people were showing up one day with tubs of silver coins. It didn't matter if they were American Eagles or bars, or whatever they were. Everything was roughly the same price. And all the way up, as soon as it passed 40, people were unloading it in huge chunks because they didn't trust it.
They didn't trust because COMEX. So this is the first part that they don't fucking understand. We predicting $2,000 silver. Why? Because the blow up of COMEX. Why? Because of BRICS. People don't understand. China's got all this gold. And see, we understand China and Russia have all this gold. And all the central banks in Europe and Asia and in BRICS countries have all this gold. So therefore, they want the gold price to go up. Therefore, it will go up. And what they don't understand is if silver hits $40, they're going to sell it. What are they going to buy? You want fiat money? You want. So what you're telling me is silver at $40. I want this. Really? Who are these morons? It's just starting to. So you're going to sell it at 40 and it goes up to 2,000. And how bad are you going to be pissed off? What are you going to do with this? Silver's at 40. They're going to come in and sell it. This guy should be doing handstands going, wow, I get all this supply of silver for 40 an hour or 40 an ounce. So that's going to go to 2,000. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't get that. The people don't get it. This is why they're all fucking idiots, but us. We understand to get to 2,000, it's got to go to the 100 and then to the 500. It's going to be re-dollarized and revalued, the gold and the silver also. We know that's what's going to happen. Why would we sell our silver at 40 or our gold at 3,000? Yeah, be out of your fucking minds. If I sell it at 3,000, the whole reason I'm buying it is so it gets to 20, 30, 50,000 eventually. I'm buying it as protection. So if silver goes to $40, but that's not my protection. I'm going to give up my protection for paper dollars. What are you talking about? This guy clearly doesn't understand. And I know people that might listen to him. I've heard, you got 91,000 views. And all these people, if that's what they do, they're out of their fucking minds. So let's listen to more.
And I remember buying something like a 100-ounce bar for a customer, and it was around 40. And, it kept going up. So when I placed the order, it cost me like $4,700. And I think that's still a paperweight on my desk at home. It cost me $4,700, and it was a good lesson.
Two questions related to that. One, aren't there a lot of buyers too as that price is taking off? Doesn't FOMO kick in? Don't people start chasing the momentum?
No, well, to a limited extent. When it went up over 40, the buyers started slowing down.
Okay.
because somebody who had bought it at 20 was probably selling it. After it got over about $43 or $44, I think it had one buyer.
Wow.
And he's reminded me of that since.
See, that's bullshit. Because when I go to my guy's store and I talk to the owner, or he talks to me, he says everybody comes out of the woodwork when the price goes up, not when the price goes down. He says when the price goes up on gold and silver, I'm swamped. People are buying it. If people understand the reason you're buying it is for protection, and oh yeah, by the way, it's also going to go up, but I'm really buying it to get out of this. So why would I sell it? So I buy it at 25. You think I'm going to sell it at 40? No fucking way. I ain't selling it until it's got 2 zeros after it. 2000, 2000. Then I'll think of selling it. But I'm only going to sell a little bit. And then it depends if the dollar still has a value or not. I don't want the dollar. I didn't just buy all these ounces of silver and gold for it to go up $10 and sell it, because then I'm back in the Ponzi scheme. I'm back in this. I don't want to be in this. I'm dumping it all. I have very little of it. And the more, the more I'm waiting for the gold and silver to go up. And I'm not buying it at 20 to sell it at 40. I'm buying it at 20 as to get out of the dollar, number one. And then number two, if I need something, I'm really not buying it as a stock where, it doubled. So now, well, I didn't buy it at 20 anyway. I bought it at, let's say 25. So if I buy it at 25, I'm not selling it at 50. I'm not selling it at 500. A few ounces if I need it, right? But we could need it because work's good. A lot of unemployment. But mostly when the dollar goes away, where are you going to go? There's no such thing as digital currency. You got Bitcoin if you want digital currency. See how that's working out. All right, so let's go.
No, wait a minute, though. What if it really shoots the moon? We get into 80, 90, 100, 120.
1,000.
Do you think that will drive not just the sellers, but also a whole new round of buyers, maybe those who have never purchased precious metals?
Not in the beginning. Okay, it will take a long time for people to get used to the higher price, and nobody can really trust the COMEX because they're able to control the price.
It's trusting the COMEX. The COMEX won't be there. See, again, he doesn't understand COMEX. COMEX would be blown up after 35. So when silver's sitting there 70, 80, 90 an ounce, there is no COMEX. Now the Chinese and Russians are getting ready to have their BRICS currency gold back, and the ruble and the yuan gold back. There's no COMEX. This guy doesn't know he doesn't know anything. You got to keep in mind, these are salesmen. These are not economists, and they're not Austrian economists. You got to understand who you're listening to. In a Austrian economist world, if the silver and gold are going up because the dollar's going out, you're buying it for wealth preservation first, and then to make money second. But it won't even matter, because when the dollar blows up, as we all know it's going to, the only thing out there is gold and silver. The value is going to go through the moon. Why would you sell it before it goes through the moon? Okay, so silver's $100. He says, well, people got to trust it and get used to it, and COMEX can control it. Okay, first of all, COMEX won't be around to control it because it's now controlled by the Russians and Chinese and BRICS. Secondly, what else are they going to be in? They're not going to see. He misses the point. They're going to want to get out of the dollar. That's the point of we're buying gold and silver now, is to get out of the dollar before it collapses, aka the Titanic. Before the ship sinks, I'm getting off the ship. Before the dollar collapses, I'm getting off into gold. What's this guy talking about? Well, they won't trust it because COMEX controls it. COMEX don't control it anymore. It's It's now the Russian and Chinese show. It's Putin's show and Xi's and BRICS. And they want a much higher gold price because they need gold-backed currency because nobody's going to trust the ruble or a yuan, but everybody wants to get out of the dollar. So the only thing people are going to trust, of course, is gold. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold says so. That's the only thing you're going to trust is gold and silver because they're real money and you can't inflate them and print them. So as you're inflating the dollar and then the gold and silver prices start rising, there is nowhere else to go with it. You're not staying in the dollar. I mean, if you stay in the dollar, then you're really fucked. I mean, so I'm telling you to buy it now before it goes to 100. But when it goes to 100, it's going to keep going. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This is my problem.
Seems like for years now, the price of silver has been specifically depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to get over that hump before it ever goes above 30. It's that people are that cautious because they've been through it at least twice.
What would it mean to you? Would you be able to satisfy sellers coming into your store, dumping thousands, like you said, tubs of silver? What would it do to you? Could you actually buy it all?
Well, what happened in 2011 is I had bought so much. I called a wholesaler and I said, I'm going to have to unload this. Can I come down on Monday? And his answer was, don't bother because I'm not buying anymore. Okay. And I said, why? And he said, because the refinery now owes me $4.5 million. So it affects the whole system, top to bottom. And if you have a contract with a refinery, they can always close the door whenever they've had enough. Everybody has to adjust, and the refineries that are the ultimate, buyer of the stuff. Yeah. They can shut the door anytime.
So if somebody comes in with, again, let's say silver hits $100,
Yep.
that triple-digit
Yep.
number, right? And they bring in tons of this stuff, and they say, Tim, I want this now. Do you think it'll be there?
Mr. Beast looked at raising over $150 million in exchange for 10% of everything he earns.
Will be there.
Yeah, I think it will be because it'll make a lot of changes on the way up. It's not going to go from $23.15 where it is today to $100.
No.
And
It's going to go to 300.
The COMEX has a vested interest in silver, physical silver. So, number one, you're expecting the COMEX to let it go. I don't know what their physical silver requirements are, but they're running a business as well. And they have to.
COMEX will let it go. Very interesting. COMEX doesn't have a say in this. COMEX is the bad guy here. They're the Madoff. They're scamming it to keep the price low, running derivatives. They won't be able to do the derivatives to keep the price down. I don't know what business COMEX is, except for stealing it and keeping the price low. But I don't even know if that's COMEX or that's not really COMEX. That's the buyers doing the derivatives. But there won't be the buyers of the derivatives because they're not going to bet that gold and silver are going down. They're going to bet it's going up. But COMEX is gone at this point. $100 an ounce, COMEX is gone. So again, he still doesn't understand what's about to happen. He's looking at, well, this is what happened in 2011. Well, this isn't 2011. How many times can I tell you the variables have changed? Somebody called BRICS came knocking. China, Russia, India, they are knocking at the door. They are changing the variables. This is not 2008. This is not 2000. This is not 2011. This is brand new game, 2024. It's called BRICS changing the game, and there's a lot of demand for the dollar. Again, people don't understand markets. They don't understand the dollar is going to zero if it isn't already there based on the debt. So you have an explanation. And the demand that the other countries don't want to be in dollars. So the only adjustment will be this BRICS gold back currency, and I think you're at 10 BRICS countries now, and another 35 want to join it in the next few months. So I think that's why they're joining it. They want the BRICS currency. And when that happens, goodbye. Now, if this guy is an idiot, he finally has a chance to make a ton in silver. He says, well, I won't buy it. I'll close my doors. So, my guy's not closing his doors. They'll be buyers because they'll see that it's going up. And it's the same scenario that's happening now. I bring in my silver and people bring in their silver. They get 25 an ounce for it. And then he sells it for 30. He gets his premium on it. So he'll pay more and he'll still sell it for more. So it doesn't matter if it's 25 or 100. Look at his gold. He sells gold my guy pays 2,000 an ounce for gold that comes in the door, and you can buy it for 2,100 or 2,075. So if he's doing that with gold, why wouldn't he do it with silver? It's the same theory, right? I'll buy yours and the price is up. I'll buy yours and then I'll sell it. I'll mark it up, whatever I'm going to mark it up. Why is that any different? So if he's doing 2,000 an ounce gold, he's not going to do 200 an ounce silver. This guy makes no sense. See, he got burned, so he's thinking, I'm going to get burned again. And so I don't want to buy it at that price because it won't hold. But he doesn't realize this COMEX will be gone. It'll be the BRICS with the gold back currency, which according to Mark Mcguire, that is about to be laid out. He said March 1st, he will have he'll have the names and when it's coming out, March 1st, Mark Mcguire. So, this is the problem with most people. They don't understand. And the problem is this has got 91,000 views. So you got 91,000 people who are in the fucking dark listening to this moron. And so when silver hits 40 and 50 an ounce, they're going to sell it. What are they going to buy? They're going to go back into this highly inflated crap, worthless dollar. Why would you sell your silver for dollars? Please, God, don't do that. What we're going to do is we'll sell our silver when we'll buy BRICS gold back currency if we can, or I'll figure out how to have Daria buy it. But that's the point. We are not going to sit there and take silver that has just doubled to buy the dollar, which is worthless, right? So I'm gonna get $40 an ounce silver to get this. Okay, mister. Then what do I do with this? What are you gonna do with the worthless US dollar? What are you gonna do with that? I mean, it's just amazing. That's why we're getting out of the dollar, is get safe haven into gold and silver. Get on the lifeboat. Get on the gold and silver boat. Why would I want to? If I hold the silver, it's gonna go down in price. But if I trade it in for the dollar, I already know this is worthless. So why would I trade it for that? Doesn't understand. He's not an economist. He's a salesman. He doesn't want to take the risk because in 2011, and so he thinks everything's the same from 2011. Nothing's changed from 2011. It's the dollar's still king and gold and silver are still manipulated by COMEX. Wrong, retardo. That's not what happens. Once the price, COMEX is going to blow up and the dollar's still going to be worth zero. Why would the dollar get stronger? So again, he's looking at it as a stock. It's not a stock. It's money. It's an asset. It's a Rolex. If Rolex goes up from 40 grand to 60 grand, do you sell your Rolex? Not for this shit.
Make whatever adjustments are necessary. Anybody in the business is going to have to adjust.
You would have to adjust, right? I mean,
I would. I'm not sure I'm going to be around when it gets to 100. I'll probably be long gone. That's why I think I'd be very surprised if it
6
goes,
to 8 weeks.
By the end of the year, over 30. I'd be very surprised.
So if 10,000
You're
ounces
an
of
idiot.
silver comes in and the spot price is $100 an ounce, are you going to be able to satisfy the cash requirements?
I probably would have closed the doors before then.
Huh.
Seriously, it's not worth putting that kind of money into it. And that's true for everybody. You know, right
No, it's
now,
not true
there
for
are a lot of
everybody.
coin dealers who don't want to mess in this market because you have to invest too much money at the prices we're at today. And, you know, that makes perfect sense to me because I know what it takes and
you're an idiot.
money to run a business like this. But, you know, there are gobs and gobs of gold around here. You know, I could fill 4 or 5 of these trays, but that's money that's tied up. That's not money that is turning over.
Britannia.
Are you here to sell that?
I am.
See, more gold being sold. And silver.
And silver.
And you're selling silver too.
I am.
So what do you have in here?
Well, you know, a little change, you know.
I got you for you.
So let's understand this. The owner is buying the silver at $23 an ounce. When it goes to $100 an ounce, is he not making money? What am I missing here? What is it that me and Bobby and Luke and you guys do? Not sure, and probably you, Greg and John. Nick, yes. We're buying it at $23, $25 an ounce because we know it's going up. 500 an ounce easy. So you have a chance to buy all this that the guy just brought in at 23 because you're not even paying premium. You're getting it at spot. You're buying it for $22, $23. What's the problem? He doesn't think it'll go up. He doesn't think COMEX will collapse. He doesn't think BRICS, this is 1 day ago. He doesn't think BRICS is going to come out with gold-backed currency with all these wars and the whole sanctions and everything else. That's perfectly fine, not a problem. If he pays all this money, he won't make a fortune when it hits 100. This is the part I don't understand. You're buying all this silver at $2,300 an ounce, or $23 an ounce. So it hits $100. Didn't you just quadruple and make 400% on your investment? It's not even an investment, just 400% return. And I don't get the problem. That's why we're doing it. Well, we're doing it to get protection out of the dollar and that it'll go up because we know it's 92-1 to gold, and it's going to, according to Mark Mcguire, 8-1. According to me, 10-1. And then I'll be able to take 10 ounces and buy an ounce of gold. So why is he in business? That's the easy part of the business. I pay 23 an ounce. And when it goes up, I'll sell it to customers because they'll be in a frenzy when it hits 40 and 50. They're not going to be worried. They're going to be buying it because of the inflation and the BRICS and the dollar going out and all this other. You'll get $100 easy. People will be lining around the block to your store to buy the silver. It's finally going up. You're finally going to make all this money on your $23 an ounce silver, and you don't want to buy any. Nobody's going to be selling you silver at 100 an ounce. Everybody's going to be buying your silver. That's what I keep hearing from my guy. When it goes up, everybody and their mother is in. Nobody's buying it to sell it at that price. They're only selling when they need to pay rent or buy food, and they just don't have the money. And they got gold, and they can get $2,000 for it, which allows them to do X and Y. So that's why they're selling. But it's very few people that are coming in selling their stuff because of that. But as it goes up, and when gold hits 3,000, this guy should be doing handstands, going, "Oh, I paid $2,000 for it, and now I can get $3,000 for it." Isn't that why you're in business? Isn't that isn't that what makes time travel possible? That it goes from $2,000 to $3,000? Isn't that what you're looking for? This is not stock. This is not, we're not buying the Eagles at 2,100 to sell it at 3,000. We are buying it to get out of the dollar. We are buying it for safety to get out of this before this goes to zero. Just like the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the Dutch, and the English all had gold, all had the number one. They were the Alabamas of their time, and they all went broke. So don't tell me it doesn't happen. Believe me, the Romans would have been the last team that you would have bet against that it's going to happen. But you inflate your dollar and get the gold, guess what? You lose every time. Which is what I tell Luke when I said it's a zero, and he goes, 10%? Like, he keeps hoping, maybe this time it'll go to 10%.
Oh, those are kilos.
Yeah. SD right now will give you $1 over.
On buyback?
Yeah, buyback.
You got to ship it.
Shipping.
You got to ship it there, right?
That's why I don't deal with
Just
them.
move it into gold, wait for that,
The gold to silver ratio.
Yeah, wait for the ratio and then move it into that,
That's right. But I was a little concerned when I asked that question of Tim,
Yeah.
and he's like, well, I might not be able to be in business. It
That's
depends.
a scary thing.
Well, think about other local coin shop dealers, and you bring in your big truckload of silver, and you're going to go and get gold, and they're closed.
Yeah, then you're stuck with a bunch of metal, aren't you?
You're stuck with a bunch of silver
Yeah.
if you're playing that ratio.
Right.
I mean,
You're not stuck with it. It's money.
We got a coin shop dealer like Tim open. We're going to be able to make that conversion.
Yeah, that's why you want to diversify in all kinds of things, not just gold and silver.
Tell me that trade
Bullshit.
isn't look beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty nice.
I don't even know what it is.
I clicked on Kitco for the prices, and it dropped 5 cents while I was looking at it.
Kitco. Kitco's trash.
That's fine. We'll do it.
What does he got, Bobby? What is that one?
Absolutely. Or you can give me the 713. I mean, you're probably going to be okay with this either way. Well, no, it's not. Plus, you don't want to give all that cash to the bank. Remember, they give you a hard time about that.
Don't talk banks.
Nobody wants to talk about banks. Hey, did you hear another bank closed?
A closer was in trouble. The stock was way down.
Yeah,
What's the name of it?
It was something like that. I don't know who it was.
Yeah, the stock was way down. I can't remember the name of the bank.
That's nothing.
No, but I'll tell you that, JP Morgan was going to buy that bank anyway. God. They get lots of excuses. I'm impressed with Jamie Dimon because he's trying to.
No, he's the biggest crook.
I'm glad he's taking the stance he is because people really need to know the truth. We're not getting any truth out of anybody else, and you know what I'm talking about.
I sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, what's that?
It's a badly damaged Britannia.
Isn't it amazing how beautiful it is when you buy it and how damaged it is when you sell it?
You keep it in the plastic.
I'm kidding.
You
don't damage gold. It can't be damaged. What the fuck are they talking about?
Boy, I even hesitate buying gold at this level because I don't trust it. At this level, I hesitate to buy gold because this is all funny. You look at the graphs on these things.
Oh yeah, it's part of that is Jerome speak.
That's exactly what it is. Let's see this graph here. Okay, now, why did it go up here?
Comex.
What's a good reason?
Because it's Comex.
First of all, why did it go up there?
Because it's
Why did
Comex.
it go down? Then why did it go up here? And
So this guy doesn't even understand paper gold. So please, 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 I'm begging you, be careful who the fuck you listen to. This is a guy who's with paper gold, doesn't understand what BRICS is, doesn't understand the dollar's collapsing. And 91,000 people are watching this getting the wrong idea. They get it wrong. This is my let's look at some comments about this idiot. Here's some smart guy. This is what I realized, that I will never trade my metals for fiat again. I will trade my metals for real goods and service like it should be. Yankee, can we get an hour-long sit-down talk with Tim? State of the country. Why would you want to listen to this idiot? The friendship between Tim and Yankee is, yeah, who gives a fuck? Who's Tim? I couldn't agree more with Tim. Too big to fail should not be. If you can't make it, you go out of business. I like that Tim isn't afraid to tell the truth. Tim doesn't know the truth. Impressive video. The financial landscape is intricate and forces affect equity, stocks, bonds, silver, gold, and Bitcoin. Economic uncertainties. Gold and silver is an insurance policy for our family if paper, not if paper, when paper becomes worthless. I don't care about the price. I hold what I think is the right amount. This is just one safety supply item. In Canada, our banking institutions are not safe or secure with our current government situation. Great analysis. It's fascinating to see how factors like job cuts, CPI data, and investor sentiment are influencing the stock market's direction. No, they're not. The detailed breakdown of industries like the S&P, along with the commodities like gold and oil, really sheds light on the potential for new highs or a downturn. What the fuck are these people talking about? What are they talking about? This has got nothing to, it's all manipulated by JP Morgan. So I don't know what anybody's talking about. The stocks are manipulated. They print money and buy the big 5 or 6 stocks. They're all putting it into Tesla and Amazon. It's got nothing to do with sentiment. CPI's got nothing to do with inflation, as we know. It's how much money you fucking printed, and it's worthless. It's all manipulated. Bernie Madoff's just smiling right now, going, "Hey, it's all look what I started. They're all Madoffing everybody." I have asked the same question to other stackers. Thanks for answering it. Don't invest money in anything, even gold and silver, that you can't afford to lose. Well, if you don't invest your cash, for sure you're going to lose that. So that's a no-brainer, right? You're going to lose money if you keep it in dollars. That's a fact, Jack. So it's not an investment. It's safety. You're getting out of dollars and into something that can't be inflated. God bless, true crime. Yeah, great. I remember the 80s. Yeah, this ain't the 80s. I saw buckets of silver taken to a large U-Haul that was squatted down. I had one buyer tell me there were uncirculated walkers, Morgans, etc., going through. $50 an ounce back then would be like $200 now. I remember my dad having a hard time holding on to a lot of coins. They just exploded in value. If a dealer won't buy back metals, then why should I buy PMs? What's a PM? I'm keeping mine for times. Hopefully, buttering will keep food on the table. If a dealer won't back, then why should I buy PMs? Anybody? I don't know what a PM is. Precious. Oh, why should I buy precious metals? Because the dealer's an idiot. That's why. This dealer has no fucking clue what he's talking about. The U.S. Mint should put a $50 face on the ASE. Again, I don't know what the fuck that is. I hate when people abbreviate because you don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Keep it simple. Talk to people like they're 5th graders and explain. ASE is something. Sure wish I lived close by Tim's shop instead of going cross country. Why? Paper, gold, and silver manipulation has destroyed perception. There's somebody with an intelligent thing that only to buy physical. Well, that's why you're buying physical gold. That's exactly why you're buying physical gold, because the paper gold will go to zero, but not the physical. The gold pattern is pretty straightforward. Gold goes up. It goes up when the COMEX and LBA is closed, and then it goes down when the LBA opens, then around 8:30. It goes down a little more than at 10. When the LBMA is closing, it goes down some more. Usually at that point, it will trade in a range. Then when both are closed, prices tend to go up. Rinse and repeat. No, always like this, but happens more often than it doesn't. Think about last month. It was all after hours then to bring into what I consider safe and man, whatever. Love this dude selling to Tim today. That is my concern, that silver goes up and so many people selling at once. Why are you selling? I don't understand this concept. Please help me understand this concept. So the silver price goes up and everybody's selling it. And they're getting what? They're getting this. This is what you want. You're selling silver to get back into fiat. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Why would I want fiat? As I've told you, the last thing you want to do when you sell gold and silver is get back into fiat. That's the game. We're in the Titanic, it's sinking. We get off the Titanic. Now, according to this guy, we're going to get off the lifeboat and go back into the Titanic as it's sinking. Does that make sense to anybody? Because it does make sense to me. I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about. The dollar is collapsing. They have no clue. COMEX is collapsing. They have no clue. Silver goes up. Why am I selling? I'm buying more. Now it's okay to buy. So everybody wants to sell their silver at $40, $50 an ounce. Okay. And what are they going to do when it hits 200 and 300? Because people bringing theirs into the shop is not going to lower the price of COMEX, or is not going to lower the price of silver. The Russians and the Chinese and the BRICS are controlling it, right? So it's going to go up. It's not a supply-demand item. This we know is a supply and demand. If nobody buys it, the price goes down. If everybody buys it, the price goes up. But so what you're saying is if the price goes up, nobody buys it? Okay. The difference, though, is when you get out of your silver and you sell it, you're back on the Titanic. Why the fuck do you want to be back? Didn't you just get off the Titanic? So the last thing you want to do when silver and gold goes up is get out. But you must realize COMEX is gone. You must realize it's not going to be manipulated. And you must realize that we're looking at $50,000 gold and $5,000 silver. But you can't think that way because you're so fucking brainwashed that you think that silver or gold can only go to 2,100 and silver can only go to $50 an ounce, that it can't go any higher, but it's manipulated by COMEX. That's why it can't go any higher, not free market. We're looking at a free market gold and silver price that are out of the COMEX range because the fucking BRICS and Russia want a much higher gold and silver price. It'll go back to 10 to 1 or 8 to 1. That's what you're not understanding. You don't understand the picture. And then you want to get back on the Titanic. It's sinking. I'm getting off into gold and silver. You know what? But gold and silver's gone up because of what? The demand, because of the Russian and Chinese. So let me get out of it and go back on the Titanic. I mean, it's oh my God. This is the problem we have. We're dealing with idiots. And I just, as Bobby will say, shake my head. I don't get it. I don't understand why. If you listen to Mark Mcguire and Alligator and Egon, you know what's going to happen. If you listen to me, you know what's going to go happen. I said it before they did. But the dollar's out. Go ask the Romans how they're doing in Rome right now. The dollar's out. It's gone. It's worthless. It's called it's called what? It's called $35 trillion in debt. And they got to pay it off. And the more you print, the less it's worth. What is so hard to understand that concept? You buy silver and gold because they can't print it. It can't be inflated. And if the value starts going up, it's only getting to its true value. And believe me, for silver, it should be $1,000 an ounce right now because it's been so suppressed that it's not close to its real value. Same with gold. It's been so suppressed, 3,000 is not close. The real value of gold should be about 20,000, especially with everybody panicking and realizing the inflation going on and realizing bricks and realizing the dollar's going out, everybody and their mother should be buying gold and silver, forcing the price way, way up and not selling it. This is not a stock. This is not Microsoft. You don't buy silver at 25 and sell it at 50. You buy silver at 25 because you get out of the dollar. It's not that type of investment. It's safety and it's insurance, and I have no choice. I can't stay in the dollar. Staying in the dollar doesn't help you. So I just, as Bobby says, it's a shake my head moment. I don't fucking understand it. But look what we're dealing with. These people are so stupid. The guy who owns the store is stupid. Oh, honesty and integrity. He's not being honest and he's not being integrated. He's not integrated. Gold here in Australia go up lately and it keeps going up. Such a big difference from last quarter. Well, in Australia, they're starting to realize it, but it's still COMEX. I've always stacked silver for only one reason. Barter in SHTF, whatever that means. It's always been beans, bullet, and bullion in that order. Called Tim today, ordered some silver, had a pleasant conversation. Yes, he does answer his own phone. Who gives a fuck? These videos with Tim are my favorite. Well, when you go broke because you're selling your silver at 40, don't come calling to me. Love how real Tim gives it and speaks honestly. He might speak honestly. He's just a moron. Also, that you don't edit out what he says and the fact your show is not scripted. Tim for president. God, I wish these guys would watch here. They'd be laughing at Tim. Silver is for long-term holders, not sell it after a few years. Well, all the precious metals are really, you're buying it because you're buying security, you're buying real money, and it's more or less you're getting out of dollars. So, like I said, you got $300,000 in the bank collapses, you're fucked. The dollar in the bank collapses, you're fucked, but not in gold and silver because you can't inflate it. So that's why you're getting out of the dollar. This is all about getting out of the dollar and saving your ass. Then you hold the gold and silver, and when you need some, you sell a half an ounce of gold or 20 ounces of silver for 2 ounces of gold, and you give it to your family, and then they can eat and buy a house with an ounce of silver. The Hunt brothers really did me good when they tried to corner the market in silver. I backed the truck up and started unloading. The good old back in the day story. Silver falls like a rock soon after. 2011 was another bonanza, but they're done. That made out well. Boy, where do they get these idiots? Are silver and gold price manipulated by large institutions? JP Morgan was fined nearly $1 billion. Well, of course. Don't you know that? Why don't you know that? Didn't he say that? No. So he hasn't said that gold and silver are manipulated by JP Morgan? Wow, this guy's a real moron. Love Tim's videos. Keep them coming. Although it's concerning, he seems a bit worried about the amount of inventory he has in stock. Locals need to get down to the shop and buy. Thanks for always having awesome videos. See, this is why I don't have comments. I don't want to hear that. We all know I do a good job. I see it. So I don't need somebody to say, oh, good job, Howard. That's a waste of your time, and I don't need to read it. I already know it. I'm stoic. We're already looking at $40 in Canada. That's Canadian dollars. I just looked at some 2024 Maple Leafs, $39.04 an ounce. Spot price is $30. Well, that's because your dollar is worthless in Canada, and that's where everybody's headed. All right, enough of that. Let's see what else this one is.
And what is this all? This is not a pattern.
You're supposed to tell us.
Looks like a heart attack.
It looks like something seriously
Get the paddles, man. Get the paddles.
Who's this loser?
Jumpstart
You
that
know,
guy.
He says, we're looking for a little more evidence that inflation is abating, or he wants some other term. I don't know. And the metals shoot up. Whoop, gold goes up like that. Come on. What was he? And why is it doing this today? And
It's all weird.
Where's it going to be tomorrow? In the negative?
Yeah. Someone was supposed to be chasing gold and everything's whacked.
Tim, didn't I tell you not too long ago that the calculus is all changed, that they hang on every word the Federal Reserve says,
Yeah,
and they're trying to...
It's derivatives
they're
being
doing-
printed. What the fuck is wrong with these
To the
guys?
Federal Reserve.
Traders,
And why are they?
because they're addicted to cheap money, Tim. They need an injection of stimulus in the form of rate cuts, and eventually QE5. That's what they need, Tim. There's no rhyme or reason to this market.
I get lectures from this guy. and he's the one that told me, they're cutting rates in March. And now it's at least May.
Okay, all right.
They're not going to cut, right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no.
I really think the cuts are coming.
Rate cuts?
Yep. This
Well,
year, multiples.
Yeah, I think they should be afraid enough of Trump getting in there to
Why? What's he going to do?
Better be a little more cautious about, number one, running up the debt. Number two, about quantitative easing, bailouts. They better, if they even have bailouts in the back of their mind, it's a mistake. And
So Trump gets in. So what? The debt all of a sudden goes away. The QE, the printing of money can't go away because you got to pay the debt. You got to bail out the banks because the banks aren't going to do it. They're not going to lower rates. They can't. They're fucked. But the inflation is printing the dollars again, not prices. So there's nothing they can do. If Trump, if I was in the White House. Now, I'd be coming out with gold-backed currency. I'd be buying all the gold I could and have gold currency. It's the only way to survive. You can't. There's nothing else you can do. So I don't really get this. He's worried about Trump. What's Trump going to do? What can Trump do? I mean, oh, God.
today,
I found an idiot.
fail should be, sucks to be you. Sorry, that's life. If you can't run your business so you don't fail, stop cheating people. Maybe stick around longer. Oh, and
Bernie
it's not
Madoff.
coming. That's the problem. We apparently didn't learn anything from 2008.
That was housing.
So while you do that, Tim, what is in this box of rounds?
Well, it was getting kind of light. I could actually pick it up. So I put more rounds in there.
If you are within 20 years of retirement, or if you're already retired, all of your hard-earned savings.
I could actually pick it up.
All my savings is
So
in
I
gold
put
and silver.
more rounds in there. There are all different types of buffaloes in there.
So some new stuff.
And, this Mercury Dime round, which is a very popular one.
I got that,
This is a
Bobby.
little bit like the talents, but I don't know what the background of it. They're semi-religious. And then there are a lot of oddball things like, Lunar New Year coins, ships.
Okay, boring. So the guy who comes into the store to sell his silver and gold, basically he's clueless, or he needed the money for food or something. So he either needed it to get fiat, or he's clueless selling it. Now this guy thinks that when silver hits $40, $50 an ounce, everybody's going to sell it and take fiat. I'd be dancing if I was this guy, if he had a clue of what's going on. If he did, then he'd be dancing around the store going, this is great. I'm getting all this inventory at $40 that's going to $2,000. And COMEX will not be controlling it at that point. It'll be free market, and it'll be more bricks, not controlling it, but setting a much higher price. And we'll get an actual free market in physical. And that's what we want. That's when I talk about high prices. because that'll be the physical. Because none of the dollars is going to be worth it. This goes to zero. The dollar goes to zero. The pound goes to zero. All these go to zero because none of them, they're all worthless. They're not backed by gold. They aren't backed by anything. They're printed to death. None of them are worth anything. So this is why I warn you. In one day, he's got 91,000 because he's an old man and he talks softly, you believe him. And this is what I warn you about. As soon as he doesn't understand COMEX and he doesn't understand bricks and he's looking at charts, run fast. Get away from him. You don't want to be listening to people like that. It's the same. There's no difference between this guy and Maloney and Schechtman and Peter Schiff. It's the same guy. They don't understand what the fuck is going on. They just want to sell you. Weisman just wants to sell you his silver and gold. He can't explain it. Now, you can call, but I don't know if he takes money in, but he sells it. What's a shop? You're selling inventory. So in this case, because gold and silver will be going up, he'll need more. But what is he doing with his inventory now? He just got a bunch of 23 an ounce. So sell it at 50. What I don't understand. Nobody's going to buy your silver at 50. Silver hits 50, there'll be a big line of people buying it because they don't want to miss out and they'll realize, oh shit, here's where I need to be. So anyway, I saw this. I actually couldn't believe it. I don't even want to leave a comment to this idiot. It's hard to comment to idiots. So Tucker Carlson asked by Putin who blew up Nord Stream, and Putin says, "You guys did, not me." Putin offers peace again. He says, "I'm willing to sign. Bring your guys." So it's not anything we didn't know. So here's the entire Vladimir Putin interview. I haven't watched it yet. Maybe it's tomorrow when there's no football. Although I'd rather watch the 81 Niner Dallas, the catch Super Bowl. So you wonder, I just watched the interview movie and you just wonder, is it the same thing where Putin's, it's all scripted and he does come out looking good. I'll give him that. No, we didn't invade it. I don't know why NATO's doing this and that. Germany should get peace and all that. So, again, it's hard to really understand without really knowing the guy. He sounds very intelligent. He obviously must. He has gold. And we'll get a real price. So this is the thing that we really need to understand. And I thought this was a good perspective, seeing this idiot not understanding how to run a coin store. So again, yeah, he's nice and he's an old guy, but he doesn't know anything. He's what we call a moron. If I was talking to him at the pool and he didn't know what bricks is or COMEX is falling apart or it's a paper gold price, why are the charts? We would not have a long conversation. I don't have time for idiots. That's what this guy apparently is an idiot. So, if you like him, I would say run very fast, get the fuck away from him. He does not know he doesn't have a clue. We're all waiting for gold to hit 500 an ounce. And at that point, we're not selling because we don't want to sell for this. So the only reason we are selling silver at 500 an ounce is because we need groceries or to pay a bill, something along those lines, because we don't want to hold this. So we're going to sell our silver for this. It's going to be, I got to pay this bill, goodbye. That's it. Or the dollars collapse and I need silver for the grocery store. Okay. And that's really what, you just shake your head. Like the guy I interviewed with has no clue, doesn't understand the bricks, doesn't understand COMEX. He has no clue. Why is gold 2,000 ounce? I don't know. And I explain it to you and you don't hire me. Okay, I don't want to work for you anyway because you're obviously too stupid to be running a company. I mean, what are you kidding me? You don't understand that COMEX price fixes gold, or you understand it and you don't think it's never gonna get out. Oh my God. Yeah, we're gonna see 3,000 gold soon and $100 silver soon, but it'll be more like 300 because once silver hits 8-1 and gold's at 3,000. 10-1's 300, so 8-1's 350. It's at 25 now. And we ain't selling it at 350. No, we're not buying. This is not a stock. We're not buying it at 25 to sell at 350. That's not the point of our buying the gold and the silver, because it's going to go a lot higher. But we're not even buying it for that. We're buying it to get the fuck out of this. And we're only going to sell it not to get back into this unless it's an absolute emergency. So we're buying the gold to get out of this period. And if we'll watch it go up, but we're not at that point. We're not. We only sell it when we need to pay something. We aren't selling it to make a profit. We sell it like I said. Luke, we're gonna sell our gold to buy a house or a Mercedes or something. That's why I'm selling my gold, is to buy something like a house. I don't want cash. I don't want this for my gold. Gold's at 50,000 an ounce. I don't want this. And see, we open our minds and we're INFJs and we're Stoics. And for us, for gold to go to 50,000 an ounce is nothing. We fully understand using logic and having the background should be there easily because it's been suppressed. And as people get out of there, I mean, once whoever collapses first, Japan, the euro, the British pound, the US dollar, whatever collapses first, the other ones aren't going to be far behind. And when people start losing their money, what do? They panic. And what do? They buy another asset. And the only other asset you're going to buy is gold and silver. You don't have a choice. You are not getting out of British pounds and buying euros because they're not worth anything. None of the currencies are worth anything. But you got 8 billion people with money that's all about to go zero, and 8 billion people into gold that only has 255,000 tons is not a lot. And, they're going to buy, 100 ounces here and 100 ounces there, and pretty soon it won't be anymore. Plus, you got all the central banks buying 500 tons here and 500 tons there. So that's just the whole point of it. You've got to understand BRICS controls it. He's looking at a chart. What are you looking at a chart for? It's not going to. It's like looking at New England with Tom Brady. He ain't there anymore. You can't look at the chart. It makes no sense. So, these guys just are clueless. But the problem is, if he's going to do a YouTube video, he's doing it for business. He's doing it so you call the shop. It's like Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars are created so you go into their store and they can rip you off, as you see they do all the time. I've got to make money. Well, okay, give me a fair offer. You know, if like I said, well, let's use Mahomes. If this car is worth $5,000, you're going to pay me $5,000. I've got to make money on it. That ain't my fault. Go find it for $4,000 and I'll sell it to you. But you know, there's only 50 of them. So good luck finding another one. I want $5,000 for it. I don't really give a fuck if you make money on it. You know, and you should be able to make money on it if there is only 50, because you are a pawn shop. So you should be able to get more money. You can put 5,500. You should be able to get that. So I really don't understand. But that's where we're at with it. And after Mahomes wins another Super Bowl and the price goes up and you're in the pawn shop, you can sell it for more. It's funny, you can make profit on gold and silver by marking this premium. So again, in silver, there's a lot of these bigger bars, 10 kilo bars or whatever. I don't know all the sizes that are much, much tighter, much more in demand from India. India is buying silver like it's crazy. So there's a big, so the ounces maybe aren't selling, but the big 10 kilo bars are. And so the demand for silver is huge, but maybe not in the ounces. I mean, that's good for us. Go buy 20 ounces, 10 ounces. Yeah, but we're not billionaires that we can just go and buy, give me 10 kilos. I mean, so we can't do that. But the governments they'll buy tons of gold. They'll buy 250 tons of gold, which is a lot. Money Heist was 90 tons of gold, which you thought was a lot until you realize it ain't nothing. So when China's got 60,000 tons of gold and they did 90 in Spain, the professor needed to go to China and steal 60,000. Could you imagine them stealing 60,000 tons of gold? Tokyo, we need a bigger truck. Where are we going to put all this? That's the funny part. But yeah, that's, the bigger denomination. Like when people are buying, like, well, Warren Buffett's not smart, but look at Putin. Let's use Putin. He's got 32,000 tons of it. What do you think he's worried when the price goes up? You think he's selling? No. He's going to back the gold back ruble and the gold back bricks with his gold, because you need to be able to walk into the bank saying, I got this $10 bill backed by gold. I'd like my gold. And you go to the teller and she's supposed to give you, here you go, here's $10 worth of gold. And however that's going to work, you have to have the gold on hand to have a gold back system. That's why the U.S. doesn't want it, because we know you're fucked. If you're the U.S., you're fucked, because you have a dollar worthless. And as we know from all the history I've designed for you, as soon as you run out of the gold and your dollar is worthless, bye-bye. Bye-bye, Rome. What happened to Rome? Oh, they inflated their money and they didn't have any more gold and silver and the money was worthless. Oh, that's why the empire went out. I mean, it's very, very easy to understand if you understand the gold and the paper as I explain it to you. Anyway, so that's what we got. So it was a Mark Mcguire day. I'll try to filter it better. I thought that it was very hard to listen to him because he goes off on tangents. When I go off on a tangent, I try to keep it in English. He goes off on tangents that you're just like, what the fuck are you saying? But he's talking Chinese. He's talking about other things. He's not talking straight what he's doing. So that's why it's hard to listen to Mark Mcguire. Anyway, we got Valentine's Day next week. Buy your lady some roses. I told Daria, but since I can't buy them in Russia with my credit card and say, send them to Daria, I got her out. She'll get prices, and then I'll get her a dozen. But basically, I keep sitting there with all my gold, waiting for it to go up and up and up. And I have no thought of selling any of it, really. Just if I need bills. And I don't want to be back on the boat. You're getting off the Titanic. You've got gold and silver. The last thing you want to do is sell your gold and silver to get back on the Titanic. What is wrong with these people? Now you can do this with the Titanic money and buy a Mahomes card. That's 50 count. And then so you're not in the Titanic. That's why you buy real assets. So you can buy that. You can buy a Rolex. You can buy a Picasso. You can buy diamonds. You want to buy real assets. So it doesn't always have to be gold and silver, but that's the easiest because that's money. And everything will be priced in gold. Nothing will be priced in diamonds. It'll be priced in gold and silver. Well, I guess even now, things are priced in diamonds. If you had diamonds and you went to buy a Mercedes, I don't know if they'd probably make you go, get the money for it. So I heard one guy like last year said, well, you'll be taking gold for your Mercedes. He said, I'd make you get money first. And I'm thinking, why? The money's not worth anything. So the biggest problem is people are not patient. People they want Amazon stock to go from 100 to 150 in one day. I don't know. I don't follow it. I've been out of stocks for 2 years waiting for it to crash. But if you're smart and you understand it will crash, you're fine. You get out of it and wait for the crash. I'm waiting. The dollar's crashed already, but I'm waiting for everybody to realize it. And when they start buying gold and the gold goes to the moon, okay, we know it's going. We just wait for it. And that's the hardest part if you're, waiting for that to go. But as we can see, it looks like it's starting to happen. Mark Mcguire with a $3,000 gold price. And then a silver price of 300 because it'll go to 8-1 as we get the re-dollarization. So we see why. Oh, re-dollarization. People getting out of the dollar into gold and silver. Oh, okay. That wasn't there in 2011. That wasn't there in 2008. So you can't fucking compare. Like I said, it's comparing New England with Tom Brady, and then he gets traded to Tampa, and you want to compare it. Or Peyton Manning's on Indy. Now he's on Denver, and you want to still use the Indy. Look what happened to Indy. Peyton Manning isn't there anymore. You can't use the trends. This is the biggest problem people have is they don't have a clue of what really is going on. And, they see a trend and they want to just keep using it. They don't know when it's no good. And so therefore they don't have the patience to wait. They just see it and think, oh, okay, it was there in 2008. It'll be there now. No, the dollar's worthless and the debt's now 35 trillion. No, it's not the same. You have massive inflation that they're trying to hide at 3% when it's 20. Keep believing the government. Okay. And again, I don't know what Trump can't do anything. The only person who can do something is me because I would have the balls to back it by gold. Gold would settle the dollar and kill the inflation. However, we don't have strength in the government. The government's a bunch of wimps, and one guy tried to do a gold, then they shot him down. Okay, so the dollar's gone. Once again, Bobby, I showed you earlier, but if you're catching it now, this is what you want to buy. This is called Primal Defense Probiotic Formula. I used to buy this when I worked at Vistion Village in 1999, 2000. I was talking to an engineer and he says, it's called dirt. I said, I don't want dirt. He says, well, it's called Primal Defense. And I bought it back then. And it really, you watch, I just took 2 today. I bet my feet between the cod liver oil and the Primal Defense. I bet my feet give it about 2 or 3 days, get better. Because I think the more I'm using logic, I'm not a doctor, is I think I'm malnutritioned or lacking some certain vitamins. And that's why my feet keep bothering me. Because I'm not eating shellfish and I'm not drinking beer. And I'm having, this week's all been chicken. I did a fucking 65-hour fast. Why is my foot hurting? Why is it still hurting? So I think I'm deficient in certain vitamins or minerals, which is what's getting my foot to keep reacting. And the fact that it moves around, I mean, I read gout, it's the big toe, but yet mine's here and it's top, it's the heel. Why do how do I have gout all over my foot? So I think it's a little bit of arthritis. And, because I'm in the pool every day. Now, granted, I don't weigh anything because the water's up to here and I'm running. So my feet are not getting hurt from being in the pool. And then I hot tub it. So I'm not doing a whole, I haven't walked the lake since fall. But it's 60 degrees out there. I might start walking a lake this weekend. But I think I'm deficient. And these are the two best things that I take, the cod liver oil and the Primal Defense probiotic formula, that, believe me, if I'm missing something, I'm getting it from here and I should be fine. And, I get what? This is expensive. I got 250 soft gel cod liver oil pills. It was like $36. And then I got 90 Primal Defense probiotic for $47, which I thought was very expensive. So I probably wouldn't have got these. I probably paid $25 last time. So there's another vitamin shop closer to me. And I asked the lady, is this the same price at every store? Because I don't know. I know the one I go to is probably the best price. And I know it was more expensive in Alabama because I found one and it was very expensive. So I'm just curious. Maybe tomorrow I'll go to the one by over a mile away and see if it's the same price. I don't think they are. I think because I know gas is more expensive by me because I'm in a richer area and I'm off the highway. So I can drive 2 miles away and the gas is 10 cents cheaper. So I give them a shake my head and sometimes I get a Diet Pop there or a Fritos or something if I'm allowing myself to fuck my feet up basically. So anyway, waiting for turkey. I don't want to ask Daria too much, but I'm going to ask her, okay, do we have the date yet? Can I get the tickets? And can I please have your names on your passports? Because I know that's the one thing with the Russians and even the Ukrainians. Jenna's got 18 different names. And Daria, I know her name, but the daughter, I doubt has the same last name. They usually take the father's name as their last name. So I don't think that the daughter's last name is the same as hers, but I need the name on the passport because when you board the ticket, when you go through security, they're looking at the passport and your ticket, and it better be the same name or you ain't getting on the plane. So I don't want to buy tickets for that, but I'm still not sure. Hopefully she doesn't have school, but she might not know for, a couple of weeks if they have school coming up. So I will buy the plane tickets as soon as I can. The sooner the better, which I'll make her aware of. And otherwise, Jenna's got a fever today. I hope she doesn't have COVID. Like I said, it's all over the place. And it was funny. Here's Jenna being jealous. I said, so I went and showed her a picture of this. I said, okay, I just bought this. This I usually get for her when I meet her. So I show her these two, and I said, she wanted me to get her some minerals that I never heard of. Women's vitamins, but it was something really I never heard of. So I asked the girl, do you have this, whatever? She says, no, I never heard of it. So I told Jenna, I says, well, here, I was at the store and I got this, but I asked the girl what you told me you wanted, but they don't have it. She never heard of it. So she gets jealous. She says, what girl? You were talking to a girl? What girl? I says, with the girl at the vitamin shop. I was asking her about the vitamins you wanted. She said in the Ukraine, they're like $83 a bottle. I said, fuck it. I'm not for vitamins. This was more than I would. This was $40. But I mean, I got to buy myself stuff. But I told her, I says, you still have fish oil? Because when I met her in Berlin, I gave her the whole bottle. This is 250 pills. She said, oh, I got about a week's supply left. So I said, okay, let me see how much they are. And then I can, they're not too expensive, but there's inflation everywhere. But there's definitely inflation in the Ukraine. So we will see. But anyway, so what's going on with the girls? Like I said, I haven't heard from the guy who didn't hire me. Or any recruiters today, and it's just pretty fucking funny. That's one thing I wanted to discuss today before class ends. Well, there's two comments I wanted to make. One is if I start teaching this at like a classroom or at a hotel lobby, would I give a test? And I thought about it and I said, I won't give a test per se. I'll be clever and give a stoic test, which means, what is inflation? So I'll teach you inflation. Then I'll say, can you write down what you think inflation is? It won't be a test, but it is a test, right? It's a different test and it's in the middle of class. And just because I want to make sure people know what the hell that is. The other thing, which I hope I didn't just forget, what was I just going to say? Oh, I can't believe I just forgot this. So I moved to the test. I got away from my other point. It was about job. Oh, it's people working at a job. So when you go to a job, you're in like this little world, and there's the president, and there's the VP, and then there's your managers, and then there's other people, and it's almost like a whole different world. And in that world, the president or the VP or your boss is in control of you. And I don't get that. That's bullshit. They should tell you, but it should I tell you, but I'm not in control of you. I teach you what it is. So you're at a job like this guy here, this idiot. So he doesn't hire me. And if I see him, I'm not going to pay attention to him. But if I work for him, he would control me. I'm your boss. You must do what I say. There's that control about work, which is why people don't like it, because you like going to the pool and swimming because nobody's telling you what to do. You're free to do as you choose. You're free to go to whatever restaurant and order whatever you want and pay for it. You're free to go to a mall and buy clothes. But when you go to work, there's somebody there who is controlling you. And they're paying you for it. So they figure I can control you, but I'm paying you. So you got to listen to me because I'm paying you. So they're kind of blackmailing you. If you want to get paid, you listen to me. And I think it's terrible. I think this is the problem with work. And I think because the problem is if I see this clown at the pool, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to laugh at him for not hiring me, but I'm not going to talk. He means nothing to me at the pool. He only means something to me at work. And when I go to these other jobs at Toyota or at Mercedes, the Toyota guy, if I ever saw that son of a bitch treasurer from Toyota, which I wouldn't know what he looks like anyway, I'd nail him. If I saw the guy when I was the controller at the marble place where they didn't have computers, if I ever saw that guy or my boss, I'd nail him. I would drive right over him. I mean, it would be, I would not treat them nicely because they don't understand they don't understand the worker's value. So in other words, I need a financial analyst. I'll hire one. And then he's going to do what I need done. But you don't have control over me or power over me. I need this, but month end done. I need this help on the budget, help on the forecast, put this in. Okay, so you're gonna treat me as if we're at the pool. You're gonna ask me, can I do it? And I'm gonna say yes or no. And you're gonna treat me the way I should treat you at work. Because if you treat me like that at the pool, I'm gonna drown you. And it's just a notice that I have that why do you treat people like that? Because they work for you. Where do you think you control these people? And you can, like the guy at Toyota, and he's yelling at me. Okay, let's take it to the pool now, or let's go to a restaurant. And I'm sitting there, and he's not the owner of the restaurant. He's just another guy eating a meal, and I'm at a different table. And you start yelling at me, you're not making it out of that restaurant alive. I'll kill you. I'll put you in the fireplace. You don't have the right to talk to me like that. And why do you think you have the right to talk to me like that at work? Oh, because you're the treasurer. You have an important position, so everybody has to bow down to you. See, I don't play that way because I'm stoic. And that's what he didn't like about me is he'd talk and I'd say, I ain't listening to you. Why should I listen to you? Who are you that I should listen? I'm smarter than you are. And this is a big problem is they don't get that I am not always the smartest guy in the room, but pretty fucking close. Between my master's in finance and Austrian economics, it's just like this guy at the store selling gold and silver, not understanding COMEX and that everybody's going to sell their money at $40 for silver. Why is that any different than gold? I'm not selling my gold if it goes up $20. So again, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, but I don't work for him, so I can say what the hell I want. But so I'm smarter than the gold guy, right? When I go to work, I'm smarter than this guy from U of M who is the CEO, James Morden, Chief Financial Officer, yet I'm smarter than him, but he won't recognize it. They get an ego that they're smart. He thinks he's smart. I asked him for his qualification. Yeah, I went to U of M. I got a business degree. How does that qualify you to be smarter than me with my master's in finance and economics, Austrian economics? How the fuck are you smarter than me? I got 25 years at GM, Ford, and Mercedes. But where the fuck do you think you're smarter than me? But he can't even admit to it. And I look at it and just laugh. I'm like, this is why I have a hard time at work, because I know I'm smarter than these guys. But if I applied for CFO position, I don't want it. It's really too much work. It takes me away from football and economics and gold and going to the pool. And I don't want to give up that. I don't want to give up Daria and Jenna and that the hours. That's not worth it to me. Because I'm smarter, I go and get my money and go buy gold and silver with it. So that's basically what I do. But if you mentioned gold, the guy's clueless. So you just showed me that I'm 100 times smarter than you because you don't know about gold and you don't know about bricks. You don't know about COMEX. Then I watched this guy show at his store and he doesn't understand it. So how do you sit there and deal with that you know you're smarter than these people, and yet in some weird way you think that they can do what they want? I hate this Skype. I get these stupid messages. I don't have anybody on Skype. Anyway, so that's where it's at. Because I'm stoic, I can quickly realize that the guy's smarter than me or not. And, if I want to work with them, but you should treat me the same way you're going to treat me at a restaurant, at a clothing store, or at the pool. I should be treated the same way. So what the fuck do you think that you don't have to treat me that way? Why? Like, because we're at work. Like when I got there's a sign that said go in through the front door or something. And I thought, well, why is that sign there if I'm here? So I I knocked on the window and there's a guy sitting there and he ignored me. And some guy walked up and said, oh, you got a guy at the window? He says, yeah, I know. And I'm just going to ignore him. Why the fuck are you ignoring me? You can't ignore me. Why would you ignore me? And don't really understand it. But because I was interviewing, I really couldn't say anything to him when I walked out. But I wanted to tell him to go fuck himself, right? That's how I work. You want to treat me disrespectfully, fuck you. But that's being stoic. You don't take that shit. So, but it was kind of confusing. Why do you have a sign, go to the front? Aren't I at the front? Or where is the front? So I'm trying to ask him, am I at the right door? But why does it have this sign up? So with that said, he's, not helping me. But, the guy got the phone and came up and got me. But it's the same thing. If we're at a restaurant and you ask me to pass the ketchup, I would pass you the ketchup. But if you're not nice, I'm not going to pass you the ketchup. So it becomes this whole story of this where who the fuck do you think you are? And the fact we're at Toyota or somewhere. Now, they treated me very nice at Mercedes, at Hiram Walker. At certain places, they treated you very nice. And I worked very well there. I respected them. And at some places, they don't treat you nice. And I'm like, who the fuck are you to not treat me nice? This is just a job. So that's another reason I've had several jobs is if I'm going to be treated poorly, why the fuck would I work for you? Why would you treat me poorly? I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense. I'm nice. I'm doing my job. I'm very highly skilled. Why do you talk to me like that? What is your point? So, I mean, I wouldn't do. I just don't understand it. And that's the thing with the girl in Alabama. Like, I treated her very nice, and she says, "Oh, he must want sex if he's going to give me 100 if Cincinnati wins." It's the same thing. You're disrespecting me, and you're not talking to me. Why aren't you talking to me? So I think you get this whole stoic thing when you get mistreated for people don't understand you. So I think there's this communication gap. So as this guy at the gold store is talking, well, if it's 40 or 50, everybody will come and sell it for fiat currency. And so it's very like, no, you don't get it. You're not, I'm up here and you're down here. You're not at my level. You don't understand it. And I struggle with people like that don't get what inflation is or that. In other words, I know what it is dead cold, and then they don't. And it's like, well, this guy's an idiot because he doesn't even understand it, but he's talking about it like he does, and people are listening to him, getting the bad impression. And if what I'm doing here is to educate and give you the truth, then I don't want you to watch this other guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. So I think that's it. But definitely working for somebody, the first thing is they better treat you with respect and understand why they hired you. I hired you because you got a master's in 25 years and you know computers and you know finance and how to budget and everything else. That's why I'm hiring you. And I better kiss your ass because I'm glad you're here. Why the guy at Toyota would sit there and yell at me over something that I didn't understand that. And then it gets to, you don't yell at me. I remember telling him, my boss is sitting there like an idiot. She's just sitting there at the table. And this guy's yelling at me. I go, you're out of line. Clearly, you're out of line. You don't disrespect somebody who works for you, period. And he keeps yelling, and I keep going, you're out of line. You're out of line. What the fuck are you talking about? How I didn't get up and leave, I have no idea. Because if you want to just start yelling at me, I'm not going to listen. I don't fight you. I outthink you. And so I'm not going to listen. You can yell all you want, but if I don't listen, you're the bully. It doesn't do any good. So, I should have just choked the guy. Really, you don't treat people like that. What is that? This is how you do it in Japan. You yell at people, and then they just get on their hands and knees and going, "Oh yes, master," whatever you say. What a bunch of crap. But also in your relationships, your girlfriends and your wives, your family members. I don't let my brother do that. I told my wife to fuck off. My ex-wife, Daria and Jenna basically know. Once in a while, I gotta kick Jenna's ass, but it's rule one. There's no yelling and there's no fighting. That's it. You do that, I'm out. And very simple. I don't have time for yelling and lying and fighting. It's childish. It's stupid. I don't have time for it. It's not the relationship I signed up for. And I much rather be alone where I'm not being yelled at or lied to. I don't need to be in a relationship where I'm yelled at and lied to. My ex was trying to control me, and I'm telling her to fuck off. Who do you think you are to control me? Didn't that doesn't work. That turns me off, and then it was see you later, right? And she's all crying. Oh, well, you did it yourself. I didn't do anything. I didn't yell at you, and I don't try to control you. Anyway, but it's important in relationships that you don't let people yell at you or control you. And it should just be like they're serving you drinks at the restaurant. That's how they should treat you all the time. Yes, Howard, can I get you something? Yeah, get me the, you know what? I'm going to cook. Let me cook for you. Right? Well, we need to go shopping. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Let me get you roses. Not yelling, not control. What the fuck is that all about? Why do people think that they can do that to you? So you work for me, so therefore I get to yell at you and control you and be rude to you. No, I didn't sign up for that. I said to do your financial analytical part, your ledger, your budget and stuff like that. That's what I signed up for. Not to be treated like shit. I didn't sign up for that. And the funny part is, at Mercedes, a German company where you would have expected it, I never had stress, never got yelled at, and I was there 4 years. I go to Japan. I go to Toyota, and this idiot is very disrespectful because he's Japanese and I'm American, and all I can say is never work for Japanese. If you want to be controlled and yelled at, go work for Japanese. But I would never recommend that to anybody, and I would never do it again. And just a horrible place to work. Very disrespectful for some reason. They have a big, we nuked them in World War II. They haven't gotten over it yet. But I'll tell you, when I went to Berlin, I didn't get over that either. I wanted nothing to do with Berlin because of World War II and the Nazis. I didn't, Jenna, you want to go to a museum? I don't want to see Hitler's shit. I don't want to see how they did World War II. There's nothing in Berlin related to history or museums that I want to see. I have no interest. The war was, they were violent murderers that killed a lot of people, stole a lot of gold. I don't want anything to do with them. I was really wondering what the fuck are we doing in Berlin? And I will never go back. Not sure why I went in the first place. It was mostly just for Jenna, right? But I'm not going back. She's only there because her friend from Ukraine went, and she gets like $1,000 a month and like basically a free apartment. That's why she's there. And but she's not working and she's trying to learn German. So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing there? Anyway, so it is weird how people treat you. I don't get it. I don't like it. You shouldn't like it either. And I think it's a respect issue. Well, I'm here working for you. You're paying me for my skill. Why do you think you should be yelling at me? What do you tell, and you kind of hold back because they're paying you. So you don't want to upset the apple cart and lose your job because you talk back. But in the same token, where do you get off being disrespectful to me? That's not why I'm here. You're my boss in the fact you have a role of manager and I have a role of senior financial analyst, but that doesn't mean you should disrespect me. You should kiss my ass for being there, that I can work for you because you're such an asshole. I mean, that's, and when I left Toyota, I was laughing. And when I left this other Madoff job, I was smiling. I just ripped the CFO a new asshole. I said, well, you'll be out of business in 6 months with the inflation and the dollar going away anyway. So it's taking a little more than 6 months, but do you think he got it? No. And I was like, you lied to me. You said I'd have a staff. You said you'd clean the place up. The carpets are still shit. The floor is still dirty. You still haven't gotten me people and or the computer's still not fixed. So I can't basically do anything. So why did you fucking hire me and waste my time? So anyway, this is the problem. I could see after a month, it's like, this is boring and a waste of time. But I keep waiting for a computer. Then the manager came in. So they hire a plant manager. He goes, well, why aren't you finding a programmer to fix the system? And I says, it's not my job. I'm the finance guy. I don't know anything about finding a programmer, and that's not I asked my boss, should I? And he said, no, we'll do it. So you don't even have all the information, and you're getting on me for doing that. Like, look, that's not how you treat me. I don't know who the fuck you are or why you think you can talk to me that way. That's not going to happen. So that's how you got to be stoic. You got to be like confident in yourself, and you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And when people treat you poorly, you tell them to go fuck off. You don't take that. It's not worth it. Okay, but you should be good in your job because you should be stoic. So I'm a damn good financial analyst. I know my finance, my economics, and my Excel and whatever computer system it is. So I'm very confident in my job. Going, I'll find another one, which I do usually very quickly. This is obviously a recession, so it's not going to be that quickly. But that's why I'm kind of upset this idiot didn't. You wasted my time. You interviewed me for a job a level down and $15,000 less, and I still said, okay, I'll take it. And then you still didn't hire me. So, now you're disrespecting me. So go fuck yourself. Anyway, this is the problem. I have no use for this guy. I'll find another job. I did bring Daria up in the interview where I said, well, I'm dating a Russian girl. And you never know what costs you the job. And I said, fuck it. I don't care if you know it. That's not part of the job. The job is the financial analyst role of the job. Everything else, if you can't take that, then go fuck yourself. I don't give a fuck if you're married with kids either. So, I mean, what is work? I mean, but, let's take Bobby. He played on the Pirates and the Mets. And he's not there to get yelled at by the manager. He's there to play right field and bat third or fourth and hit 300 and make catches in the outfield. There is nowhere the manager is supposed to be yelling at him. If he makes an error, he made an error. If he struck out, he knows he struck out. And it's up to Bobby to fix it because he's stoic. And Bobby's going to say, I'm embarrassed I struck out. What can I do? Get with the hitting instructor, or he missed a fly ball in the outfield. He'll figure it out. I don't need the manager telling me that. I know what I did, or I know how to fix it, or I'll come for more. I don't want to make an error because I'm stoic. I have it in myself to not make errors. If I fuck up at poker, I'm there by myself. So if I fuck up at poker, I try to learn by it. Why did I make the call? Why did I bluff? Well, like I told you, Cincinnati Kid's got his full house. He should never have called. That was not that $5,000 at the end. So again, we'll set the hand up, right? So he's got ace under in the hole, 10. The guy's got 8 and queen of diamonds, or 8 and 10 of diamonds. I'd say 8 and queen of diamonds with the jack in the hole. No, he had 8 and the jack in the hole, 2 diamonds. Then Steve McQueen gets the 10. So still, it's okay. Well, for 5 cards stud, he's got a pair of 10s. Then the guy gets the queen of diamonds. So he's got 8, queen, and jack in the hole of diamonds. Gives him 3 diamonds. How the guy would think he's going to get a straight flush is out of his fucking mind. He has no idea how to play poker. And Steve gets a pair of 10s, so he then bets the 10s accordingly. Seeing the 2 diamonds, he doesn't know if he's got a pair of queens or the diamonds. So he doesn't really make the bet. Then on the next card, he gets aces. He gets an ace, so now he's got aces and 10s, and the guy gets another diamond. Not thinking straight flush because you need all 5 cards for it, but he's thinking, well, okay, the odds, if he does get a flush, we'll see. So he makes a big bet to keep him from getting the river, which was proper play. The guy should never have called, right? Why are you calling? You're gonna get a flush? And if he doesn't get a full house, you're not going to get paid off. So I don't know what Edgar G. Robinson's thinking. If I get another diamond, now I got 4 diamonds on board, and I make a big bet. He's not calling me unless he gets a full house, then I'm fucked. So are you playing for a straight flush for $3,000 to see your last card? What a bunch of bullshit. Then at the end, he cheats and pulls out $5,000 out of his pocket, which is not on the table, which is not a bet. But Steve McQueen should never have called it, because playing with him for 5 days, he would have seen he's never done that. And he's not going to bluff because you made a big bet. So he knows you're going to call if he bluffs. So he can't bluff. You can't bluff somebody who's got a good hand because they're going to call you. Unless they're Phil Hellmuth or some idiot like that, they're not going to, I got, trip 10s. Believe me, I'm calling whatever you can't bluff me. I'm going to call you. I got trip 10s for Christ's sake. So he's got to know he's going to call him. So therefore he can't be bluffing. He can only bluff when the guy's got not much and has to call. Then on the river, he gets the jack of diamonds, and now he's got the straight flush, or you got the 9. He had the jack underneath, and Steve McQueen gets the full house. But again, what are you calling? The guy, now you've got risk, Steve McQueen. The guy could have the jack of diamonds, and you could lose. Why would you take that risk? What is the point of taking that risk? You check, he bets 1,000. The next move from me is check, is call. I got a full house. What do you got? I got a royal flush. Okay, great. You win. Next. Not you fucked up by then raising $4,000 and seeing his $5,000 cheater bet. And why are you doing that you're calling an all in? You should be the one, you don't want to be calling it. Yeah, you got a full house, but that's not how you play poker. You don't play poker on your cards, you play on the guy's cards. So if I'm sitting playing Texas Hold'em tonight, and I got pocket nines, or let's say I got ace nine, and there's let's look at the Matt Damon hand, and there's a pair of nines and an ace on the board. I got a full house. But if somebody has pocket aces, I lose. So if I can lose the hand, you've got to be conservative. You can't on the hand thinking that, well, I got a full house, so I'm calling anything. That's how you lose. Those are the calling stations, these people that get a hand and call no matter what. What the fuck is that? That's not how you play poker. You've got to measure the opponent and see what he could have. And if he can't have you beat, you don't risk everything. You risk when you've got the four of a kind or the straight flush, then you go all in. Where you got, aces and it comes ace. You got pocket aces, it comes ace, king, king. Okay, now I can go all in. I got the nuts. If you don't have the nuts, you got to play conservatively if you want to win. Because otherwise you're going to get burnt like Cincinnati Kid did. Then what do you go cry because you lost because you're an idiot? We all like Steve McQueen, but he was an idiot on that hand. Absolutely did not play it properly and should never have lost it all. And I would have made a comment about the 5,000 out of the guy's pocket. I said, fuck you can't do that. It's got to be on the table. It ain't on the table. Anyway, that's being stoic, is being smart, is not making the stupid play. So again, if we're being stoic and looking, Bobby's playing baseball and he strikes out or he drops a fly ball, he knows he did, and he's going to try to figure out not to do it again. Oh, why did I strike out? Well, that's what you do in poker. You go, why did I lose? And you figure out what you did to lose. And when you do that is when you then come on and say, okay, I got to be careful for that. And that's the first thing I learned is when I have a flush and there's a pair of nines on the board and I think, oh, I got a flush. And then the guy turns over a full house because he has 9-7 and there's a pair of nines that gives him 3 nines and a 7 on the board. So it's very easily, if a pair's on the board, you're going to lose with your straight or flush to a full house. You got to be very careful. You got to watch the way they bet. I've got it figured out where it's the way they bet determines what they have. And they might check, okay, if I get 4 jacks on the flop, I'm checking and calling. And you're going, why is he checking? But he's calling. Why is he calling? Why would he call? He's either on a straight draw or he's got the nuts. And that's the thing. So you got to be very careful. But if the guy's raising or betting, he's probably got like a pair of aces. Is that one pair he's trying to, that's it. Or maybe he's trying to bluff you, like I said. But my biggest tell is I've got pocket aces. I go bet 40. I get one caller, put him on a pair. Flop comes. I bet my 40. I could bet 100, but why take the risk? I bet 40 again. And if this guy check raises me, I don't even hesitate to fold because the only way he's check raising me, because he knows I bet, he knows I got a hand, he's not bluffing. And you know that automatically. Nobody going to bluff into somebody who's making the big bet. There's no point in not making the big bet because all I got's a pair of aces. So I've got to bet it. You can't slow play aces. People that slow play aces don't know what they're doing because you allow them to catch up. It's not that good a hand in 5 card. So if I got aces and I check and then I let 6 people in on the flop, and I've done that before, and then a pair of 2s flops, somebody starts betting, and he's got a set of 2s. I can't do that either. So I got to bet. and then I got to follow it up. But that really, I'm only following it up with 30 or 40. If I get checked raise, I'm out because I'm only getting checked raise. Normally, if somebody has kings or queens or jacks, let's say, and didn't hit the set, they'll check. I'll bet 40. They'll call. If I get a call, he's either hunting a flush or he's got a high pair and I got aces and I win. It's the check raise that immediately the bells and whistles go off in my head going, he flopped a set, I'm out. Because I'm not sticking around to try to get the third ace with 2 cards left. I got what, two cards times 2 is 4. I got 4% chance I'm going to win this thing. So I don't think I'm going to stay. But that's what you're doing in poker. You're being stoic. You're learning the player and seeing what he does to you. And then you can react to it in a stoic way to try to figure him out and going, how do I deal with this guy? Oh, if he has nothing, he checks. This is the biggest player. Most players, they have nothing, they check. Okay, he got a pair, he bets. He's got a low pair, he calls. So he'll check. I bet 20. He calls it because he's got a pair of 7s or something. So you've got to learn who you're playing with. Then you get your bluffers. And I've talked to you about the Russian girl before. She would, I took a lot of money from her just slow playing it. So I'd get, 2 pair, and I'd check, and she'd make the big bet. I knew she's bluffing, so I'd call, and I got her. And when she didn't bet and she just checked, I knew she had a full house. So she's telling me everything she's got. So I could fold it, or if I had the nuts, I would, but I wouldn't, if I don't have anything, I got a pair of 10s and she checks, I check. And I told her, like I said, I was getting a Coke or something, she's smoking. And I told her, you can't check when you got a full house because you bluff every hand, you put a lot of money in. So I automatically know that if you're checking, you want me to stay in because you've got a big hand. You cannot check your good hands. In other words, if you bet 100 on the bluff and 100 on the bluff, and then you got 3 kings, you got to bet 100 because if you check, I know you've got 3 kings or whatever, and I'll fold. And I told her that little wisdom. And that's how you catch a bluffer. You slow play them. You let them bluff on you. And then when they don't bet and they check, they got a big hand. And then you can slow play them. You can't bet into them. But all of a sudden, the bluffer goes and checks, and you got a pair of 9s, and you bet $50 because you think, they don't have anything. You're fucked. You lost 100% of the time. They got you. If a bluffer is checking, they got a big hand. Otherwise, they're betting, and they're bluffing, and you have to slow play. Oh, I flopped the set. Okay, now I'm going to check to you, and then they make their bet, and off you go. So you've got to figure out, why do I lose? I don't know the players. So you then go and figure out the player and figure out there's only a couple types. There's the guy that's tight who only bets when he's got something, which you can see, he gets his 2 cards, he makes a bet, he's got a hand. He checks, he doesn't have a great hand, but something, you bet, he calls. So the guy who calls, you've got, he doesn't have anything, but you can't bluff him, he won't fold. And then there's the aggressive kind. And then you got a guy like me who you have no idea, because I'll slow play and then I'll bet big and you don't know what I'm doing. And then you got the bluffer who sits there and makes a big bet on a bluff. And when they're not bluffing, they check. Oh, that's pretty obvious. So the bluffer's easy. And the other guy, and most of the guys, especially the older guys, are tight, especially in Detroit. They're on their pensions or whatever. They can't afford to lose. So I think if you see guys that can't afford to lose, and this is mostly in your home cities, Detroit, Chicago, whatever. In Vegas, it's a little bit more touristy, so you're probably not going to find that as much. But if the guy can't afford to lose, he's only calling, he's going to call with a decent hand. And you'll know if you like I've had that, and I'll hit like trips on the river, and I'm playing the old man who can't afford to be in, and he loves his pair of tens, and I could bet 20 or 30 to keep him in, but I'll bet 70 or 80 because I know he's calling me, and then I get a big payoff, and it works every time. So a lot of times you can watch the player. They'll let you know if they hit or not. Very few are at my level where I actually fake you out because I know you're looking for a tell. See, that's how I'm at that level. I'm very stoic. What are you guys doing? Oh, you're looking at me for a tell to see what kind of hand I have. Okay, I'm going to give you a fake tell. I've done that before. I got a full house and I'll act nervous and I'll knock my chips over and I get a call and I turn over my full house and I go, thank you. I've gotten 4 of a kind and I just check it, bet a little bit on the river and keep them in and turn over the 4 of a kind. So there's always, you try to act differently, but they're watching you for your tell, right? That's where in rounders where KGB eats the Orioles. Now, my question in that movie is Matt Damon's supposed to be this great poker player, supposedly. And the other guy, Kanish, is supposed to be this pro poker player. And none of them noticed the eating Oreo cookies as his tell. Really? You're supposed to be that level, but the guy eats an Oreo cookie. Now, first of all, eating or drinking is an automatic tell that you've got a good hand. How the fuck do you not know that? I mean, Jesus Christ, that's poker 101. I don't get it, but how do you not? And then the second part is Matt Damon tells him his tell. Who the fuck does that? Apparently, what he was trying to do, which he didn't say, was put him on tilt, get him upset that now I know your tell. What are you telling him that for? Oh, I don't have time. It's morning. Fuck, anytime the dude eats an Oreo cookie, you fold, and if he doesn't eat an Oreo cookie, you bet. You now know what he's got. Why would you tell him? And then you could tell Kanish and your other buddies, if he eats the Oreo, he's got a hand. So I don't understand any of that. That was the worst written movie I ever saw. But if somebody's sitting and I'm at the table and now, okay, I bet 100 and I do this, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed, I got a hand. But if I sit there like this and I won't say a word, man, I'm probably bluffing. I don't want anything to do with it. One guy faked me out. I had a pocket kings, I think. And the flop came like deuce 6 7. And the guy makes, I think I made a bet with my kings, and then he made a bigger, let's say I bet 50, and he made it 200. And I'm like, I know I got kings. I know I got him beat with the kings. Did he hit 2 pair? And then the guy pulls the look at the TV on me, and I'm going, oh, fuck. When they look on the TV, they got a hand. So I was very confused. I end up folding, and he didn't show me, but I saw him do it again a day or two later, and he did bluff. So he was bluffing, which is what I thought, because I'm thinking how the guy played. I made a big bet with kings, and he's calling me with the 6 7 or 2 6. I mean, it was like it made no sense. And if he flopped a set, he wouldn't be raising me, right? So you deduct it going, well, if he had pocket sevens and the 6 7 came out, now he's got 3 7s. Why in the fuck would he be raising me? He would not raise me. He'd want me to stay in the hand. The raise got me out. So if you've got a good hand, you're not raising because you don't want the player to go out. Now, against very skilled players, you might make that move where they would read you going, oh, well, wait, he wouldn't raise me if he's got, a set of 7s. He's not raising. Then I would go out. So, I'm going to call, and then he really has a set of 7s because you're reading it like, oh, I should go out with this raise. But that's really, there's only a few different types of players. And keep in mind they're watching you for your tells. So you can have a lot of fun fake telling. And they will have no fucking idea. They're trying to read your tells, but if you know that, then you know to give fake tells. You would never, because they're like unconscious tells. Like you do this, or that's what they tried to say in rounders. Oh, the guy had a twitch here, and the guy did this, and it's like bullshit. How do you know they're real tells or not? See, but I'll think of that too. I'll think, is it real or fake tells? But that's keep in mind they're looking at you for your tells. So have a nice 5 or 6 fake ones out there and get them to do exactly what you want them to do. And that's the fascinating thing about poker. But I would prefer, somebody asked me my favorite, I think the interview guy, I says, well, I play poker also. He says, what's your favorite game? I said 7-card stud, but you can't find it. So I play Texas Hold'em, but I don't really like it. I think it's a Mickey Mouse game with the 5 cards in the middle is like, it's a weak game. The best game is you don't see any of my cards. I don't see any of your cards, and we're gonna Steve McQueen it with 5-card stud or 7-card stud. Not this bullshit 5 in the middle, and you want to say that. That's just, it's such bullshit. You've got to be so cautious because you don't know if they're going to use them or not. But in 7-card stud, it's I got 7 cards. You can see 4 of them, and I can see 4 yours. There is no wild cards and middle cards or stuff. That's a much better game. But anyway, so keep that in mind. You go with your limit. I go with 300. I play 1-2, no limit, and basically gives me a good shot to win. And if I can't, either A, I don't get any cards. I get 2-9, 3-6, 3 jack, and I'm folding all night, or I get aces and kings and tens and an 8-9 of diamonds, and I'm getting good cards, so I play. And then if I lose, now I'm really fucked. Or then or sometimes you get out bet. So I got 8-9 of diamonds. I want to see a flop. I'll see $2, and some guy makes it 15, and you're like, I can't call 8-9 of diamonds for $15. So you fold it, and you hope that it's not 2 diamonds or 7-10 on the flop. But that's what you're doing. You're hopefully you can see the flop. So if they keep making it 15, you're really fucked, or you're waiting for aces, and then in that one big hand where I had aces, I would then check it and then let them bet 15 and then go all in on top of them. And then they won't 15 you anymore because you just beat the fuck out of them. But it's as you go, you got to learn the people and understand your body, your skill, they're looking at your body language and give them a lot of fakes. Now you can win, just don't get over. It's like football, right? Don't get over good. Don't bet $2,000 on the game if your bankroll is 5. You keep it at 50, maybe 100, maybe 150 on my locks. Kansas City last week, or when they beat Baltimore, yeah, that was a big bet. Kansas City this week, they're a dog, big bet. So that's what you're trying to do. But you don't want to bet all of it on one hand. We're too good for that, right? We pick 75%. The last thing I want to do is lose it on one hand. I can play 100 hands and win 75. I don't want that big bet. I want to just keep methodically 200 here, 500 here, 200, boom, boom, boom. And you just, the bankroll grows and grows and grows. That's how you want to do it. Very smart, very clever, very ingenuitive. That's stoic. That's how we want to play. In the long run, we'll win. This is like waiting for gold to go up. We don't panic. We understand it. We know it's going up. We know BRICS is coming out, and Russia, they're coming out with it, and we know the dollar's collapsing. So we've got all the signs. We've hit the iceberg. Well, that's a fact. They've hit the iceberg. They're sinking. Let's get off the ship. So we know all that, and we know what's going to happen. And so you be very stoic with it. So you be very conservative. My gold's going up. Don't worry. Off you go. There's nowhere else to go. So I'm 99.5% in gold and silver. Why not? I know it's going to go up. I'm not worried about this idiot closing down and not taking it because my guy was not going to close down. And if I have to, we go to Switzerland or somewhere in Europe and cash it in. They'll take it. Somebody's going to take it because they're going to need it to sell it to somebody else. That's the idea. So my guy, gold's 30,000 an ounce now. I take it to him. He gives me 30,000. He's now got this gold coin that he can sell for 35 because everybody's looking for it. Nobody can find it. He's found the Holy Grail. So why wouldn't he? He's buying it because he wants it to sell. This guy, Yankee Doodle Dandy, is clueless. Oh, I don't want to buy it. Well, do you not think you're going to sell it? Well, nobody will buy it. Nobody will buy it. How did the price get up to $100 an ounce if nobody's going to buy it? It doesn't make any sense. This guy is in business selling gold and silver and doesn't even understand common sense. How do you think the price goes up? Demand. Well, it hits a price and all of a sudden demand stops? And in this case, we're getting out of the dollar. So if we're getting out of the dollar, who's going to sell it to get back into the dollar? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, just think stoically and you're way ahead. You don't get burnt. You don't get mistreated. You don't get fucked over by your girlfriend. You don't get fucked over at work where the guy's yelling at you or, things like that. Just be stoic and just think. And you'll be fine. You should work where they appreciate you and not where they yell at you because why are you here? And believe me, it took every ounce of me not to go up to the guy and choke him. I don't care who the fuck he was. I kept saying, you're out of line, so shut the fuck up. What are you doing, man? You're out of line. And he was a treasurer. I'm like, why are you even talking to me? I've never talked to a treasurer as a senior analyst. They don't talk to you. They're with management. Anyway. So that's what's going on. 6 o'clock, time for dinner. So again, these are very healthy. The cod liver oil are I got Super 1000. That's important. The 1000 milligram. Very, very healthy for you. It nutritions you with stuff that you don't get from the food because the food's so fucked up now. And then just for you, Bobby, the Primal Defense is a probiotic. This is the best. Yeah, I know you can eat Nick's cabbage and beets, but this is just a pill. You take the pill, you get everything. And I saw beets today in the grocery store. I had to laugh. They're usually 2 or 3 together, and they're like golf balls or baseball. They're very, very solid. And so you boil water, you put them in the boiled water until they're soft, stick a fork in them, and when you can, at first it'll be a golf ball, and then it finally starts to soften up, and you can get the fork in pretty good. That's how you know they're done, and then cut it up, and they go on your salad. I don't know. I guess you could eat them straight, but I don't know if I want to start eating beets like that. But on your salad, you can. But don't buy if you buy the canned beets in the grocery store, they're full of sugar. It's a lot of high fructose corn syrup, which a lot of the products on the shelves, not in the veggie and fruit, are. So be very careful with that. What else? I don't know. I guess I conclude with just watch the way people treat you. Kind of just have a very stoic attitude, not judging, but seeing how they treat you or see how they treat other people. And that's what you'll figure out. And then do you want to talk to him or not? Depends on that. This guy I don't even want to talk to. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. That's why most of these guys who don't understand inflation or bricks, What do we want to talk to them about? They don't know anything. It's a stupid conversation. There's no point in it. Oh, hi, I'm into gold. Oh, yeah, I don't know what bricks is, but yeah, if it hits $40 an ounce silver, I'm going to be selling. Going, okay, so you're an idiot. Why would I keep talking to an idiot? So keep understanding that. That's life. You'll be much happier if you can do that and avoid the idiots and talk to people like us who understand it, who are, intelligent, who know how to treat and respect people, and you're fine. So anyway, that's the point. So I hope you learned. And again, Superbowl, KC 20-10. I did see, was it Rice, the receiver at KC? Looks like he's got a hurt ankle, but he's questionable. I'm sure he's going to play. And Chocolatey Claire's got an illness. He doesn't play that much. And Frisco Kittle had a toe, but he was probable today. So I don't see that being an issue. So again, 20-10, Kansas City. We're betting Mahomes. We're betting Reed. And we're betting against, we're really betting against, the Oakland coach or Shanahan. We're betting against Shanahan. I thought that because his dad coached Oakland. That's where I got that from. But just, you really don't, you don't want to bet against Mahomes. Now, over under, I took under, but it's 54. And you got two great defenses, so I don't see where they're going to go up and down the field. That I was wrong in like the Oregon-Washington game where you think it'll be low scoring. They got into the 60s, and you're wondering with these defenses how they're scoring that much. But anyway, so that's about it. Have a wonderful day. I will be on probably 11:30 tomorrow. We'll talk that, and on Sunday. And otherwise, I got to watch Mark Mcguire again. But he gets off on his tangent. You can't fucking follow him, and you start my brain starts wandering. I like, what are you saying? And then he just keeps going. So you're like, oh, I'll get a break, and I'll pause him, and then it's just he keeps going, and you're like, fuck. Now what I was gonna pause it for, I can't because he stopped. No, I know I get on tangents, but I try to be coherent so you can follow me. All right. Have a good night. www.teaserking.com. As far as I know, it's going to be 20-10 KC. I'm not changing that. In a dome in Oakland, so it should be fine. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Really warm here, about 60. All right. Take care.